Welcome, everyone. This is your friend, the DN What If, here with another exciting fanfiction. Today, we're diving into the story of What If Deku and Class 1A watched the Multiverse? If you enjoy this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more fanfiction content just like this. Now, let's get started with the fanfic. Prologue. Everyone at UA was having a pretty normal Saturday morning. Eraserhead, more formally known as Aizawa Shoyuta to his students and colleagues, was walking his way to 1A Heights Alliance. Why, if you may ask? The answer was simple. It was a Saturday morning. The class was obviously up to something, and that Aizawa realized the night when they moved into the dorms. Last time he checked, he had to deal with an ostrich hiding in Kaminari's closet and a frozen Bakugo in Tokoyami's room. And as soon as Aizawa entered the common room of the dorms, he came to face absolutely nothing? Not even a single student. The hell? He thought to himself. Meanwhile, Class 1A was called by none other than Mei Hatsum in the school auditorium. She had described the reason already, so that means you are pretty late that you missed it, but since I'm a good author, I'll write it anyways. Turns out Hatsum, along with another support corps student, Akira Kuramiya, made a new invention. Akira was a girl with black mid-length hair and dark brown eyes, normal height, and she was wearing UA student uniform. The invention now was a metallic white chair with a headset and a bunch of wires connected to a large screen and a computer at other side. Imagine the Multiverse machine's chair from the one connected to a large screen. This invention was supposed to show the multiverses of whoever in that seat was. Now Hatsum and Kuramiya wanted to test it out. And as Hatsum says, what better test subject than someone from 1A? I get it now. This machine is used to show you your other lives. Kaminari asked. Yes. Hatsum and Kuramiya said at the same time joyfully. That's so cool. But one more thing. Kaminari said again. Yes. Both inventors asked at the same time but less joyfully. Do we gulps really have to be in that thing? Kaminari said, pointing at the chair. Yes. This time it was joyful again. Yeet. I'm out. Kaminari said, immediately throwing his arms up in the air. Why am I here again? Bakugo asked, unamused. Thanks to Kirishima, Lee Legend. Ashido said, pointing at Kirishima. Thanks, Chief. That means a lot. Kirishima said while manly, comic style, crying. Okay, now, back to Block 1. Who is gonna volunteer? Take 2 steps forward. Hatsum exclaimed. The entire class sans Midoriya took 2 steps back. Bold of you, Midoriya. Bold of you. Kuramiya said to the greenette, who was confused. What did I do? Midoriya asked, but soon realized that he was the one who was 2 steps forward from the class. Crap. Oh, come on, Mido. I bet it wouldn't be that bad. Ashido said. Yeah. You totally got this, man. Siro and Kirishima also tried to encourage him. A multiverse of Midoriya's life? This can actually turn out to be something good. Ida said. Yes, Deku. This will be so awesome. Uraraka exclaimed. She's right, Ribbit. Azuri said. Yeah, so awesome to see you die in that hell chair, him a nerd. Bakugo said mockingly. Well, the word, yelled, would be more appropriate. Don't worry, Midoriya. You will be missed. Kaminari said with fake tears running down his cheeks as he placed a reassuring hand on Midoriya's shoulder. We'll always remember how cool you were. Mineta said, doing the same. Thanks, I guess? Midoriya more likely asked while stuttering hesitantly. Stop it, you guys. You're just discouraging him. Ashido said. Yeah. Most of the students exclaimed. So, a multiverse, huh? How many possibilities do you think there might be? Todoroki asked the 2 inventors, totally off the subject the rest of the class was discussing. Who knows? There might be infinite possibilities out there. Kuramiya exclaimed. Yeah. There might be different personalities, quirks, affiliations, or maybe even different appearances and names. Hatsum exclaimed. Come on, Midoriya. Just do it already. Hagakure exclaimed. I don't think it's a good idea, guys. Midoriya said. Screw it. I'll just strap him in. Bakugu said in a monotonic voice. Wait, what? Midoriya tried to protest, but it was useless since he was already being strapped into the chair forcefully, courtesy of Baku Squad. Meanwhile, Principal Nizu with all might, in his weak form now, and Aizawa was walking towards the school auditorium. Nizu was planning to do some changes in the auditorium, and for that he brought the other two UA teachers to make some decisions regarding it. So, I was mainly thinking to increase the heights of the seats in the bar area. As soon as the door to the auditorium opened, the teachers were shocked. Ack! Nizu finished his sentence as he looked at the scene in front of him. There was Class 1A and 2 support corps students with a big screen and a weird-looking chair with Midoriya strapped to it. All the students in the room looked at the teachers and principal. Dada, good morning? The hell is going on here? Aizawa asked without any emotions except for tired. And why is young Midoriya strapped to that thing? All Might asked with clear concern in his voice. I'll explain. Hatsum raised her hand. One explanation later. I will allow it. Nizu said. The students beamed with joy upon hearing this. But I will allow it only if Midoriya is okay with it. Nizu said looking at Midoriya. Instantly, all eyes in the room shifted to Midoriya waiting for an answer, who was still strapped to the chair. Well, since I'm already strapped to this, I guess I'll do it. Midoriya replied giving one of his best smiles. Most of the students cheered at his reply. Okay then, it's settled now. Since we already are in the auditorium, you all should get comfortable. Kuramiya said clapping her hands together. Yeah. It feels like we're gonna watch a movie, dude. Kaminari said. More like movies. Siro exclaimed. Hey, can my bro, Tetsu, tag along? Kirishima asked. That's actually a good idea, Kirishima. Principal Nizu, can we also invite some of Class B's students? Yaoyorozu asked the principal. Sure thing. In fact, I will like to invite the other teachers and the big three as well. Nizu said. Yes, sir. Arrival's second explanation later. Now everyone invited was present in the auditorium. Midoriya was strapped to the machine while Hatsum and Kuramiya were on the computer attached to it. Students and teachers were sitting as row number 1, Uraraka, Ida, Todoroki, Bakugu, Kirishima, Tetsu. Row number 2, Ashido, Siro, Kaminari, Jiro, Yaoyorozu, Shinso. Row number 3, Azui, Tokoyami, Shoji, Mineta, Koda, Shiozaki. Row number 4, Hagakure, Ojiro, Aoyama, Sato, Itsuka, Monoma. Row number 5, Tagata, Heido, Amijiki, Recovery Girl, All Might, Nizu, 13. Row number 6, Aizawa, Present Mike, Midnight, Vlad King, Cementos, Power Loader, Snipe. Before we start, I want to remind all of you why I agreed to this. Nizu said, gaining everyone's attention. This will show us different scenarios from a part of Midoriya's different lives, so consider it as an opportunity to learn something new. Nizu said. After all, it's not every day you get to see something like this. Togata exclaimed. Let's begin then. Multiverse number 1. Let's begin then. As soon as that was said, Kuramiya started to type in some codes into the computer. As a result, the search for first multiverse began. Searching multiverse scenario # searching multiverse scenario # searching multiverse scenario # search complete. Loading multiverse scenario. Load complete. Emulating scenario. Emulation complete. Playing multiverse scenario number 1. Deku Psycho 100. That's an interesting title. Ida said. I agree. Uraraka said. Then the screen started to play the selected scenario. It was a beautiful morning. The birds were chirping and the sun was shining. Children were playing in the playgrounds. The adults were off to work. Shops were already opened. The traffic was also low than usual. No sign of villainy. A perfect day everyone would want to start from. I wish we had mornings like that more often. Mina pouted. Yeah. Traffic nowadays doesn't even let me sleep properly. Kaminari chimed in. At the Midoriya household, Inko was setting breakfast on the table for two, her son and herself. She was her usual happy self. She checked the time and called for Midoriya. Izuku, sweetie. It's time for breakfast. You don't want to be late for school now, do you? Inko called. Some of the students and teachers had already met Inko and they knew how much of a lovely woman she was. Well, apparently, they're not in dorms yet? Recovery Girl asked. I don't think they are. Nizu replied. I know, Mom. An emotionless voice said as a green head entered the room and sat on a chair as he started eating his breakfast. The screen shifted to his front, showing Izuku Midoriya with an emotionless face. I have a feeling that he is slightly emo in this. Yaoyorozu said. That's the multiverse for ya. Hatsum exclaimed. Midoriya was halfway from finishing his breakfast when suddenly the spoon in his hand, which was near to his mouth, twisted and bent as if on its own. What happened there? Kirishima asked, while Bakugo EXE was too busy thinking about Midoriya's quirk. Izuku, how many times do I have to tell you to stop that habit of yours? Inko said to her son. Sorry, an emotionless apology was all she got. She sighed in return. Izuku on the other hand fixed the spoon and went back to eating. I think it was his quirk, maybe? Siro suggested. I think so, Ribbit. Ashui said. A very different one though. Todoroki said. I'm off. Midoriya said as he put on his shoes and walked out of the door towards Yue. Okay, sweetie. Take care. Inko said, waving at him. Yeah, sure. That was the only reply. Okay. This guy is much like all depressed and emo-like. Ojiro said. Like our Amajiki? Hato exclaimed. Upon hearing this, Togata spat out something non-existent while laughing. While Amajiki didn't show any amusement. As soon as Midoriya reached outside his apartment, he literally levitated towards Yue. While doing that, his hair went all the way up and a multicolored aura surrounded him. And he reached his destination within mere minutes. Then he took his route to his class. Holy shit! He can fly! What is his quirk? Did you notice his speed? Different questions were asked by the students. Meanwhile, the teachers were also having same thoughts. I see that you have a different quirk here, young Midoriya. That means you weren't born quirkless here, huh? I just want to know that you are still on the same path. All Might thought. Bakugo EXE was still too busy thinking about Midoriya's quirk. As he entered the class, he was greeted by a few and he replied with nearly inaudible sound. Afterwards, he sat on his seat waiting for homeroom to start. 38%. Wait, what does that means? Jiro asked. Yeah, what is 38%? Hagakure asked. I think we'll find out only if we watch. Kendo said, while the others nodded in reply. Soon Aizawa came into the class and announced that they are moving to another faculty, so the students must dress in their hero costumes. Hey, I think it's the USJ incident, right? Togata asked. Indeed, it is the USJ. Tokoyami said. Well, guess what? Minoma said, gaining everyone's attention. He continued, we will finally get to see the famous class while being attacked by villains. Oh, how amusing it would be to see you all get in trouble while you're supposed to be so much more rational and better than our class. Huh. Now how would that be? Minoma was cut off, result of unconsciousness, courtesy of Kendo. Don't mind him, please. Kendo said, and everyone went back to watching. Everyone was in their hero costumes except for Midoriya, who was wearing a plain white t-shirt with green trousers. Hey Midoriya, why aren't you in your costume? Mineta asked. This is my costume. Midoriya replied straight while all the other students did an anime fall. The audience also did an anime fall. Scene cut to USJ. 13 and Aizawa were going to take the class for rescue training since All Might couldn't get there. The training was about to start when a purple-blackish warp gate opened and then, there stood villains. Wait, you guys got fake villains too? Some of the students asked. Stay back. They aren't fake. They are real villains. Aizawa exclaimed as he and 13 prepared themselves for battle. The students still remembered the incident and the fear they felt that day. But it only made them stronger and proud. 46%. 13 protect the students. Aizawa exclaimed before putting on his goggles. But before 13 could help any of the students, several warp gates appeared beneath them, separating them into different groups. They students were screaming and shouting as they were falling to their respective areas, except for Midoriya, who folded his arms and gave a neutral look before using his quirk to land safely on a ship in the shipwreck zone. Azui and Mineta also landed on the ship thanks to Midoriya. That's not what happened with us, but I'm glad it happened there, Ribbit. Azui said. Most of the students were panicking. They've never even seen a villain in real life. And now they are to face them in the first week of UA. Multiple thoughts were running through different minds. What the hell are the villains doing here? Are we allowed to fight or defend ourselves? Should we do something? Yaoyorozu thought. I just want to go home. Mineta, of course. Where is backup? How did they even enter the UA faculty? I wonder if I can get some milk after this. Midoriya thought. Are you serious with me right now? Present Mike yelled at Midoriya's thought. He looks like he has no care about anything. Midnight yelled as well. Cough kinda reminds me of Aizawa. All Might said. At this everyone laughed except for Aizawa and Bakugi XE, who was still too busy thinking about Midoriya's quirk. I don't know what you're talking about. Aizawa said. 54%. Wah. What are we gonna do now? I don't want to die like this. I haven't even touched Yaoyorozu's melons yet. Mineta yelled. As a result, Midoriya extended his hand towards him and used his quirk to throw him off the ship in the water beneath, before saying, Die in a hole, pervert. You're exposing our position. Yeah. All the girls shouted. Bakugan XE has figured Midoriya's quirk out. I effing knew it. Bakugu exclaimed. Bakugu? Language? Eat, of course. What is it, Bakugu? Much to everyone's interest, majority of the audience asked. That DM emo Deku has a stronger version of Anti-Inko's quirk. His quirk is ESP. Bakugu yelled. ESP? That's so powerful. Uraraka exclaimed. He doesn't even need to move to beat those villains. Zero exclaimed. Well, that explains why he wasn't panicking before. Snipe said. A flick of fingers and it's over. What you'll do now, villains? Present Mike yelled while doing finger guns. Thanks, Midoriya. But what are we gonna do now, Ribbit? Azui asked the greenette. Well, it helped the teachers, I guess? Midoriya suggested, shrugging. But how? We are separated in groups and we can't get to the teachers without facing the villains. Azui exclaimed. 66%. Midoriya looked at Azui with an emotionless face for a moment when suddenly they heard villains behind them. There they are. One of the villains said. Not good. Not good. Not good. The audience thought. They found us, Ribbit. Azui exclaimed. I'm blaming the pervert. Midoriya thought. Now it's time to end you. The villains yelled as they charged towards the two students. 73%. Azui, get behind me. Midoriya said. The frog quirk user did as she was told. And then the multicolored aura surrounded Midoriya as his hair also waved in the air. He extended two of his fingers towards the villains and they all levitated in the air. The villains were surprised by this. They're so done. Midoriya made a fist and the villains got together in a human ball. Then he threw them away like a tennis ball. Azui behind him was also stunned by his power. Come on, let's pick the pervert and go. Midoriya said to the girl behind him. Midoriya then levitated himself, Azui and Mineta from the water and headed towards the entrance. Good God! Kaminari said. He's so powerful. Ashido exclaimed. I didn't like that scene anyway. Mineta mumbled. We did though, all the girls shouted. As the trio reached near the entrance, they came to face a horrible sight. Aizawa was being crushed by a weird creature. The creature was a big bird-like person whose brain was literally out in the open and he was crushing Aizawa mercilessly. While on the other side was a man with light blue hair and his face was masked with one of the many hands on his body. Apparently he was the leader. And as he spoke non-stop about the creature, Midoriya figured a few facts about that thing. One thing was his name, Nomu, and the other, his quirks. Boom. There it is. Zero exclaimed. Up. You should never talk like that explaining all your secrets. Uraraka exclaimed. Especially when your opponent is Midoriya. Shinso added. 83%. I guess I'll deal with that. Yes you will. Shoji said. After that Midoriya used his quirk to get the Nomu off Aizawa and into midair. Wait. Who is that brat? The handman said. One of the students I presume, Tamura Shigaraki. The warp gate said. Whatever. Nomu kill that brat. The guy named Shigaraki yelled. The Nomu roared in response. I'm getting the feels. Tetsu exclaimed. Midoriya then threw Nomu to the other side while Azui and Mineta helped Aizawa up and took his injured body to a safer place. Nomu then lunged towards Midoriya, roaring loudly. Midoriya used his quirk again and threw the nearest boulders at the Nomu. The result was that the Nomu backed off for a while, when Shigaraki again yelled at him to kill Midoriya. 95%. I'm really curious about these digits more than the fight right now. Hato said. Who isn't? All Might replied. The Nomu then destroyed the boulders and again lunged towards the green-haired boy who showed no emotion at all. The Nomu extended his arm in an attempt to land a hit on the boy in front of him but failed as Midoriya knocked him to the other side of the current battlefield with the help of one of the ships in the shipwreck zone. He's fighting that thing? Kirishima exclaimed as Bakugu and Todoroki appeared beside him. Manly. Kirishima and Tetsu chanted with manly tears in their eyes. The Nomu, however, still managed to get up and again prepared to land a hit on Midoriya. In that moment, Midoriya's past flashed before his eyes. How he was bullied. How he was declared an outcast. How people were scared of him. How he wanted to be someone special. Not an emotionless body. He wanted to be something, to be someone by his own hard work and not by his quirk. 96%, 97%, 98%, 99%, 100%. Rage mode. Rage mode. Todoroki raised an eyebrow with his question. I have no idea what that means, but I think I know what's gonna happen next. Togata said. The Nomu F'd up. Big time. Midoriya was now in rage mode. His eyes were pure white and the multicolored aura surrounded him. Everything near him was floating in the air. His hair, the broken pieces of stones and boulders and a few other things. He was staring right into the creature's soul. Holy F dash. That's an intimidating stare I never thought someone will get from Deku. Uraraka said while the others agreed with her. The hell? Don't tell me dash? Shigaraki yelled. Even the Nomu stopped dead on his tracks. Whoa, Midoriya? The students exclaimed looking at Midoriya's form. This is the result of letting out my emotions. Now you have to face my rage. Midoriya said as he furrowed his eyebrows a little. Huh. Don't tell you're angry now, brat. Nomu. Finish him. Shigaraki commanded the Nomu. Oh God. Hagakure and Hato exclaimed. That look is actually pretty. Vlad King couldn't find the correct word to put in his sentence. Terrifying. Power Loader suggested. Yeah. The Nomu, with all his might, attacked Midoriya who just stood in the way of his punch. Smoke engulfed the two of them. When the smoke cleared, the screen showed Nomu still in his punching position, while an invisible barrier was around Midoriya, who was unharmed. That was so amazing. Ashido exclaimed. And dangerous. Ida said raising his hand at a perfect 90 angle. I am possible. Nomu is made to beat All Might. A kid like you can't? Grr. Nomu finish him. Shigaraki yelled. Nomu then again charged at Midoriya and kept on punching the invisible barrier surrounding the greenette. Nomu threw at least 500 punches at him when he stopped and took a step back. Nomu then regained his energy and again attacked the boy. I am here. All Might exclaimed as he made an entrance with the other teachers and Ida. No sooner he saw the Nomu charging at Midoriya at an incredible speed. Young Midoriya, watch out. All Might yelled. No offense, All Might, but I don't think you are needed right now. Aizawa said. None taken. The X-1 sighed. The boy on the other hand moved his hand and extended two of his fingers towards Nomu's forehead. I'm so terrible. Midoriya said as his fingers touched Nomu's forehead. On contact, Nomu was sent flying out of the roof of USJ at such great speed anyone could have barely saw what happened. Oh. The larceny. All eyes were on Jiro at the moment. What? They're not bad at music. Jiro defended. Everyone went back to the screen. Midoriya's quirk then turned off and his hair went back to normal. His eyes were once again dull and emotionless. The things around him also dropped to the floor. He then turned around to see everyone, including villains, staring at him like he is something that they've only heard about in fantasies. What? He asked emotionlessly. And nothing. Don't get on his dark side. And with that the screen blacked out. Phew. That was one heck of a universe. Kaminari said. Yeah. Deku was so powerful. Uraraka exclaimed. You all realize the fact that he was powerful because his quirk didn't backfire, right? Todoroki asked them. That means. Ojiro said. If his quirk stops backfiring, he will twinkle the most among us, Mon Ami. Aoyama said. Sue? Who's ready for another one? Kuromiya asked. We are. Multiverse number 2. We are. Put it in then, Akira. Hatsum told her fellow inventor. Already did. Kuromiya replied as she entered the codes once again. Searching multiverse scenario # searching multiverse scenario # searching multiverse scenario # search complete. Loading multiverse scenario. Load complete. Emulating scenario. Emulation complete. Playing multiverse scenario number 2. Your fault. I'm having a feeling that this will be dark. Tokoyami said. Probably. Amajiki and Kuromiya agreed with him. Can you dark-o-meters detect darkness from anywhere really? Hatsum asked. The other three shrugged in response. City block. Everyone was having a normal weekend, or better, everyone could have a normal weekend if it wasn't for last night's breaking news. The weekend symbol of peace taken. The hell is that supposed to mean? Kirishima yelled. And if it says weekend? Uraraka said in a low voice. Oh no. This isn't good. Siro exclaimed in worry. Who is that sorry low life that dared to take a week-old man? That little has a fucking death wish. Bakugu yelled in extreme anger as explosions emitted from his palms. Calm down, young Bakugu. Everything will be all right. All Might said, clearly flustered by his students' concern for him. The news last night described the fact that All Might was kidnapped from his residence in the afternoon after coming from a tiring day at UA. But no one noticed his lack of presence until one of his friends, Naomasa Tsukachi, came to a visit at night. Tsukachi himself is investigating the case of the missing symbol of peace. Who? Just who can? Name the guy, I'll make sure he pays. Togata exclaimed. Don't you worry about this, young Togata. I'm pretty sure Tsukachi can handle it. All Might said, sweat dropping. Naomasa Tsukachi is also seen in the area standing with Bakugu. Apparently, Bakugu was the last person who talked to All Might. Tsukachi thought it would be best to ask him before he can jump to a conclusion. And here I thought that it would be Midoriya. Recovery Girl said. Well, it can't always be him. Right? All Might laughed it off. It has to be. After all, he is your secret love child. Todoroki thought, looking at the green-haired boy who was strapped into the chair. Tsukachi and Bakugu were having a normal interrogation session, like did All Might mention something? Or was he acting differently? Or anything else that seemed odd? But the answer came same overall. No. I don't think he knew anything himself. Bakugu said calmly. Is that Bakugu not yelling? Kaminari asked. Shut up, dunce face. Besides, I doubt anyone wouldn't be acting like that in this sort of situation, Ribbit. Azui said, earning nods in reply. Well, It just makes the situation worse. Tsukachi sighed. Bakuga looked down at his shoes. Tsukachi saw this and placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. Bakuga looked up at him and saw him smiling. Don't blame yourself. We'll find him. I promise. Tsukachi said. Bakuga could only nod his head in reply. Can you imagine how hard it would be for the rest of us if only Bakuga is taking it like that? Bujiro asked. I don't want to. Jiro replied. While all the teachers were wishing for All Might's safety. Suddenly, the large LCD screen on one of the buildings turned on, showing All Might, with a bandaged head and a few scars and bruises, tied to a chair. This guy got guts. Now he is teasing us. Kirishima exclaimed. Not manly. Tetsu exclaimed with him. The rest of the audience was also not happy about this. First you have the guts to kidnap their beloved symbol of peace and then show him on screen, all tied up? Nonsense. Hagakure, after seeing All Might's condition, hid her face into Ojiro's tail. While the other boy blushed. Bakuga, Todoroki and a few others were fuming in absolute rage, while the others hoping for the best to come out. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. A voice came from behind All Might. It made everyone curious. The voice was surprisingly very young, but dull and lifeless, broken and crazy. Is this guy really about to show himself? Someone from the crowd of people said. Is he not afraid or anything? Someone please help him. While only to Bakuga that voice was so familiar that he could tell apart the difference from a mile. No. Bakuga swallowed thick. You know him, Bakuga? Bakuga, on the other hand, had the expressions as the one on the screen. The voice. It was him. His voice. It can't be him. Bakuga said in a whisper. The rest of the audience could only wonder. Some of them thought it was familiar. But the voice they were comparing it with was much more happy and full of life. Like what you see? The voice asked mockingly. The crowd was now panicking. This person was not from the League of Villains because all of them were identified by now. But this. A new evil has showed up. You all look like you never heard of me, huh? The voice said again. The crowd can only look at the screen. Tsukachi immediately called his head department and told the other officers to trace this guy. Well, that makes sense because everyone who ever saw me. The voice said as he turned the camera straight to his face. Green eyes, freckled face, green-black messy hair. It was Izuku Deku Midoriya. No. No way. Hell no. It can't be him. That didn't live to tell the tale. Midoriya whispered in the camera. Bakuga in the crowd was shocked beyond. He knew that voice. He recognized that face. His childhood friend that he bullied for years. The one who went missing a year ago. Was back. No, he wasn't back. He changed. He became a villain. Deku? No. He can't be a... Uraraka didn't want it to put the correct word in. A villain? Ida did it anyways. The staff was also shocked. Not only by the fact that one of their best students was a villain but also how lifeless and crazy his voice was. And not leaving the fact behind that he was missing for an entire year. Young Midoriya. All Might couldn't bear the sight of his kind-hearted successor as a villain. Wait, did he just said that he killed people? Present Mike yelled. This is not our Midoriya. Yaoyorozu said. No, Mito can't. Ashido exclaimed. The screen shifted to show the greenette in a dark room with a camera, a microphone and a few screens which showed the crowd, all sat up on a large desk. He was wearing a black vest over a green dress shirt and black dress pants with his signature messy tie and black gloves. He looked at the screen, reading the faces of the people in the area. Then he smirked. What's wrong? Is this all you can do for your beloved hero? Panic? Scream? Is that all? And you call yourself a superhuman society? Pathetic. Midoriya said through the microphone. What is wrong with him? Edo asked. Come on, Midoriya. You're way better than this, dude. Kaminari exclaimed. Yeah. You're too cool to be a villain. Mineta exclaimed as well. Tsukachi's phone began to ring. He quickly picked it up. What's the situation? He asked. Tsukachi, I'm sorry. We can't trace his location. Some weird radio waves are blocking our path. An officer spoke through Tsukachi's phone. What? He didn't just popped out of nowhere. He made sure no one would get in his way. I hate to say this, but he's got the upper hand. Aizawa said. Here is an important thing for all of you. I know that one day some of you will face an intellect-type villain. So the only best thing you can do is to outsmart him. You have to do something that the villain never would have expected. And that requires fast thinking and quick decision-making skills. Understand? Nizu said to the students. Yes, sir. I ask everyone down there who has a quirk, how does it feel? The feeling of helplessness and uselessness? How does it feels? Tell me. Midoriya asked with a twisted smile. Horrible. The audience replied. The crowd stood still. No one said a word. As much as they wanted to reply back, they couldn't. All Might's life was on the line. They didn't want to say something that will trigger the beast within the boy. No reply? I guess then I should start our little session, right? Midoriya turned the camera at an angle where both him and All Might could be seen. Screams were heard from the crowd as he went closer to the ex-pro. What the hell is he going to do? All Might, please be safe. You can't be serious right now, Midoriya. Now let's get over with the symbol of peace's worst hits. Midoriya exclaimed as he stood behind All Might, both of their backs facing each other. Who am I, All Might? Do you remember me? Midoriya asked. Then All Might raised his head a little. God, he looked beaten up. How can I ever forget you, my boy? All Might said. Remember, All Might, it's another universe, so you don't need to feel guilty for whatever happened between those two. Recovery Girl said, earning a slight nod in reply. The All Might on the screen, instead of replying, lowered his head once again. No? Pity. Midoriya said. Then the green-haired boy walked up to face the hero. Midoriya forced his face up so both of their eyes met. I'm the one whose dreams you've shattered. Midoriya said. Now All Might has full idea on what was going on. His eyes widened in realization that in this universe he didn't choose Midoriya as his successor, neither told him that he can become a hero. And here his counterpart was paying the consequences. At this thought, All Might's hand flung to his gaping mouth. All Might? What's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost. Midnight asked. It's my fault. All Might replied. What? What do you mean it's your fault? I think you should just watch. All Might replied. I'm the one you destroyed. I'm the one whose heart you've broken. You killed my thoughts, All Might. You damaged my mind. You ended the way I looked at the heroes and the villains. You changed the way I wanted to protect the society. Phew. Midoriya bursted out all of his contained feelings. He stepped back and did a T-pose in front of him. You made me this. Midoriya began to laugh frantically. This, he said, poking at All Might's chest with every word while laughing. Oh my God. Uraraka hid her face in her hands. He is crazy? Sato exclaimed. Ha ha ha. 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 Do you remember what you used to say? HM? You decide what you want to be. Remember? Midoriya asked. Some of the people in the crowd were already in tears. That I do. Well then, and what did you tell me? Midoriya yelled. All Might didn't reply. He couldn't. But 2 reasons. 1, because of his condition. Right now, if he spoke a word, he would definitely spat loads of blood out. 2nd, because he couldn't. What would he say to him? After all, the boy was right. For F's sake, All Might, what the hell did you say to him? Bakugo yelled in exasperation. All Might was silent. His hand was still covering his mouth. All Might? All Might looked down. He couldn't reply. Midoriya, on the other hand, looked at him with disappointment in his eyes. You said no. All Might looked up at him. Can't. Midoriya said with deadly and crazy eyes. To what All Might? Todoroki asked. Yeah. What did you say no to? Hagakure also asked. To be a hero. All Might finally replied. What the? How could you? All Might, are you sare? They never got to finish their shock when they heard a loud smack. And then another one, but louder. Are you crazy? Do you really have to be taught about civilian interaction again? Recovery Girl yelled at him. Apparently, All Might got 2 solid hit from Recovery Girl. I'm so sorry. I was in a hurry. But I apologized later. Then I told him he can. All Might defended himself. This case is different though, Jiro said. Why? Midoriya asked as he sat down on a stool nearby. Why All Might? I just wanted to be a hero. I just wanted to help people. Then why did you do this to me? Midoriya asked further. Today, I'm a killer, a murderer, a terrorist, a villain. I'm all of them. But because of you. It's all your fault. Midoriya stated as moved towards the set of screens. He placed his hands down on the desk and scanned the faces in the area. This is just sad. Kendo said. In the crowd, we see Katsuki Bakugo on the verge of breaking down. But as always, he was just too good at hiding his emotions. His bangs hid his eyes. And he bit his lip. His fists were clenched at his sides. He knew it was also his fault. Hey, Baku bro. You okay? Kirishima asked. I'm effing fine, shitty hair. Bakugo replied. Language please. Ida exclaimed. But do you know what I'm going to do to you? Midoriya asked, half turning towards him. The craziness filled his eyes and it was terrifying. I never want to die by your hands, my boy. All Might said, knowing fully what's coming next. Midoriya walked up to All Might again and smiled one of his most innocent smile. Why is he smiling like that? Cementos asked. Then Midoriya placed 2 of his gloved fingers at the corners of his lips to support the smile. Why? Are you not smiling? Like that? All Might asked. Because the ones who are always smiling are the strongest. Right? Midoriya quoted Nana Shimura's words. On hearing this, All Might's eyes widened. And something shattered. In that moment, everyone who knew about the history of this, namely, Nizu, All Might, Recovery Girl and Bakugo, flinched. The rest of the audience realized that it was something serious enough to be heartbreaking. Well then. Midoriya released his smile and came closer to the hero tied to the chair. Everyone in the crowd screamed for him to stop. God! Someone please stop him. Don't do this, Midoriya. Did you please stop? Midoriya wrapped his arms around All Might's neck and embraced him in a loving hug. Huh! Came from the crowd. Huh! Came from the audience. Midoriya silently cried on All Might's shoulder while smiling, giving off a real smile in forever. All Might, on the other hand, also closed his eyes and smiled, probably for the time in that day. He needs saving. Everyone thought, looking at Midoriya's smile. And then it all twisted. Sheet. His smile turned into a wide grin and his eyes opened as much as they could extend. He took his hand to one of his pockets and took out a gun. Then he loaded it with the other hand. That I'm sorry, young Midoriya. All Might began as blood trickled down his mouth. You can become a hero. It's too late now, hero. Midoriya said as pressed the gun against the back of All Might's head. Bang. No. A lot of people were crying. Some people felt sick, while some just stared at the screen, not believing what they have just seen. Midoriya left the now dead body of All Might and faced the camera. Here's a sad truth, Midoriya said as he loaded the gun again. Everyone in the crowd was in tears, and upon hearing the boy's voice, they all looked up. Same can be said for the audience. No matter how valuable your dreams are to you, people will always try to shatter them. Someone will come and tell you that you can't. So just smile. Carry on. Don't give ifs to them. Be what you want to be. Don't let the society mold your personality. Midoriya said as he pressed the gun against his head. Deku, don't. Bakugo half whispered, half yelled from the crowd. I hate how accurate that is. Shinso said. Don't become me. Don't become. Bang. Deku. Bakugo screamed at the top of lungs and the screen blacked out. Everyone was silent for a good few minutes. Then Siro broke the silence. Let's not watch this again? Hee hee. Siro said. Hatsum, Please give us something bright that we can feed our corrupted souls. On it. Multiverse number 3. On it. How about one where he beats some villain butt? Kuromiya asked. Yes. That would be appreciated. Todoroki replied. Okay then. Kuromiya exclaimed as she entered a new set of codes into the computer. Searching multiverse scenario # searching multiverse scenario # searching multiverse scenario # search complete. Loading multiverse scenario. Load complete. Emulating scenario. Emulation complete. Playing multiverse scenario number 3. Vigilante Deku. Midoriya as a vigilante? Jiro asked. At least he is not a villain. Yaoyorozu said. A dark night sky illuminated by stars and a half-moon is seen above the sleeping city of Mizudafu. Not a single voice was heard. Everyone was in a deep sleep. As we look closer into the dark alleys of the city, we see a teenaged boy, in a costume, observing for any movements in the dark. His costume was basically the same with different colors. The base was black and the dark green strips were red. He was also wearing black gloves and his signature red shoes. His belt was also black, which carried 2 guns on his sides. His vigilante name was Deku. Oh, Midoriya looks so cool. In that, Mineta exclaimed. And he's got guns too. Kaminari exclaimed. Deku was walking further into the alley when he, suddenly, crashed with someone. This someone was a little girl. She seemed to be around 6. She had silver white hair and a golden horn sticking out from the side of her forehead. She had big red eyes which were filled with tears. There were bandages on her arms and legs, and she was only wearing a long old shirt. Hey, what's wrong? Are you okay? Deku asked the little girl. She looked up at him with tear-filled eyes and hid her face in his chest quickly. Pee-pee, please help me. She pleaded as she cried her eyes out. That poor little baby. Recovery Girl said. This society is full of true monsters. All Might said. I know Deku will help her. Uraraka exclaimed. Deku looked at the girl with surprise and then wrapped his arms around her in a protecting way. As the little girl felt 2 arms wrap around her, she looked up at the boy again. Deku then gave her one of his best smiles. Don't worry. I'm here for you. Deku said. That smile. It's still too bright. Ashido said. Why you will help me? She asked. Yes. Now tell me what's wrong. Deku asked. I was running away against the dash. The little girl was cut off by another voice. This voice was terrifying enough to make the girl shiver in more fear. The voice called. It's the bad guy. I'm telling you he's here. Sato said. Deku stood up after hearing the call and pushed the little girl behind him. Soon enough, a man came into his sight. And it didn't took Deku to remember who he is. Kai Chisaki, also known as Overhaul. What's a kid like you doing in this area? Huh? Chisaki asked. None of your business. Deku replied. Well, have you happened to see a little girl somewhere? Chisaki asked. Like I will just say it. Deku replied. Kid, that girl is in my custody. You better tell me before I kill you. Chisaki said, furrowing his eyebrows. Threats from people like you don't scare me. Deku said while smirking. Yeah. You tell him, Midoriya. Kirishima exclaimed. Oh, so you're trying to play a hero now? Well, I'll take care of that. Chisaki said as he took out a gun and pointed it towards the green-haired boy. Eri, hide. Deku whispered to girl behind him. Eri did as she was told and ran out of the alley to find a better place to hide. So she was with you after all? Chisaki exclaimed as he shot the boy, who kept dodging the bullets, continuously. Is this all you can do? Pathetic. Chisaki exclaimed. Deku, on the other hand, ran closer to the villain while dodging the bullets. He jumped up with high speed and kicked his opponent in the face before he would have seen him. Yeah. Show him who's the boss, Midoriya. Shiro exclaimed. Deku then jumped back up in order to dodge the bullet coming from the villain's gun. Chisaki then rushed towards the boy and successfully landed a punch on his chest, pinning him against the wall as a result. Deku grunted as his back hit the wall forcefully and then he punched Chisaki in the face, in order to make him back off. Why aren't they using their quirks? Ujiro asked. Maybe they don't have any in this. Hatsum replied. That seems to fit. Maybe you never met me here, young Midoriya? All Might thought. Why the hell he just doesn't shot him and kill him and not be an idiot? Bakugu yelled. You can't kill people if you're a protector, Bakugu. Aizawa said and Bakugu's face straightened in realization. Chisaki then took out a knife from his pocket, which Deku couldn't see due to the dark, and then he lunged forwards and stabbed Deku's shoulder. Deku bit his lip so he wouldn't scream. Then he grabbed Chisaki's arm and kneed him in the stomach, making him release the knife, which was still in Deku's shoulder. Before Chisaki could recover from the last hit from the boy, Deku threw him over his shoulder and on the ground hard. He did that with Shinso and Bakugu too, right? Kaminari asked, knowing the answer full well. Yeah. Shinso said. Shut the hell up, dunce face. Bakugu yelled. Arg. Chisaki groaned. Deku backed off and stood against the wall for support. He then, senselessly, grabbed the knife in his shoulder and forced it out, grunting painfully. Blood stained the weapon and blood trickled from his shoulder. He shouldn't have used that much force on the knife. Recovery Girl said in concern. You can't blame him. Ida used his teeth to take out a knife from his shoulder. Todoroki said. Really? When? Uraraka asked. In the fight with the hero killer. Ida replied with his head low as he remembered the incident. And you're the one who's always lecturing us. Zero said. I heavily apologize for doing that. I promise. From now on I'll be a responsible class rep. Ida said as he did a perfect 90 bow. That's not what we meant. Everyone else thought. Deku then looked at Chisaki who was still down. That was not surprisingly very easy. Deku said as he regained his breath. Then he started to look around for the little girl. He was just looking around when he was about to call for the girl, and then, bang, bang, and his eyes widened as he felt 2 bullets pass through his abdomen with high speed. New! Midoriya Deku! The audience yelled. That was surprisingly very easy, huh? Chisaki repeated his words as he stood up. Deku placed his hand on his bullet wound. People like you trying to act like they can protect others make me sick. Chisaki said as he walked closer to the boy. Interfering in matters that don't concern you. Chisaki said as he grabbed Deku's collar. Stop him. Where are the pros? What is he going to do to him? Taking risks that you can't handle. Chisaki said as he punched Deku at his wound. Gore. Arg. Deku yelled. It all makes me sick. Chisaki said as he once again punched his bleeding wound. That must have hurt. Hato said. I agree. Togata said. He then released the boy who fell on the ground. Deku groaned in pain as he hit the ground. From a distance, Eri saw him fall. Then she immediately came out and tears fell from her eyes. Please don't hurt him. Eri yelled at the villain. Yeah. Stop hurting him. There you are. Now enough of this hide and seek of yours. Chisaki said as he looked at the little trembling girl. Eri realized that she messed up. She shouldn't have came out of her spot. God, what now? Hagakure exclaimed. Chisaki slowly began to take his steps towards the now frozen with fear girl. But before that, Chisaki said as he stopped in his tracks. Eri looked at him. That I must finish this nuisance. Chisaki said as he pointed a gun at Deku. No. The audience thought. I can't watch it. Uraraka exclaimed as she looked away. Dim nerd, don't die. Bakugu yelled. Deku looked at the gun that was being pointed at him. Any last words? Chisaki asked. Yeah. Eri, look at the sky until you heard a shot. K. Deku told the little girl who nodded shakily. This is going to really bad. Zero said. Press F to pay advance respects. Kaminari said. F. 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 F, 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 F. Don't want her to look when you go? How sad. Chisaki said as he prepared to shoot the boy. No. Not me. Deku said, leaving Chisaki confused. What is that suppository? Chisaki was cut off. Bang. He shot Chisaki right in the head. Eri, on the other hand, looked back at the scene, only to find Chisaki's body fall to the ground. Ida didn't expect that. Ida said in shock. What happened? Who died? Uraraka asked as she looked back at the screen. The villain. Todoroki answered. Does that mean all the Fs were useless? Kaminari asked. Yeah. Jiro replied. It's okay now, Eri. You can come out now. Deku said as he used the wall to support himself up. The said girl took a sharp breath and then ran towards the young vigilante and hugged him tight. The other flinched as the gesture hurt his wound. Sorry. Eri apologized. It's okay. You don't need to worry. Deku said as he ruffled her hair. More importantly, are you hurt? Deku asked. Eri shook her head in a no, and smiled for the first time. Totally like Midoriya, ribbit. Ashuri said. Then, suddenly, a light was shown on both of them, and upon looking up, in front of them, there stood police officers. Freeze. Don't move and identity yourself, young man. An officer said while pointing a gun at Deku. What's up with everyone pointing guns at me today? Deku thought as he held his hands up in the air. That's the first thing that came to his mind after all that? Minoma asked. Yes, Bish. Ashido said. And these are called brilliant minds. Shiro said. Well, I guess it's goodbye then, Eri. I think they'll take you to somewhere safe. I'll see you around. Deku said to the little girl who barely had the time to thank him or reply to him before Deku threw a smoke bomb and ran away. Hey! Where'd he go? He ran away? While Eri just looked at the place where her hero last stood. Thanks, mister. I'll never forget you. Eri thought. All woo. The girls cooed at the scene. Welcome, Eri. Eri turned around to find the source of that voice but found no one. Okay, he's really fast. Kirishima said. The last scene showed Deku sitting on the top of a building, beside which the incident happened. Wow, with a capital W. Midnight said. Okay, another one, then we take a break. Nizu exclaimed. Okay. Multiverse number 4. The following scenario is taken from Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Sakura belongs to at Uravity 0102. Okay. Here we go again. Kuramiya said as she was about to type in some codes into the computer but stopped as soon as she realized something. Hey Akira? Is everything okay? Hatsum asked. Oh yeah. I think I just happened to misplace my list of codes with my sisters. Kuramiya replied. No problem. I will use my speed to get to your sister and get you the required list of codes you want within no time. Ida exclaimed as he stood up at a 90 angle. You no need Ida. I messaged her. Kuramiya said. Then her phone rang. She picked it up to see a reply from her sister. Oh, she is on the door. Kuramiya replied. Then a 13-year-old girl came into the room who had snow-white hair on the left and emerald green on the right. Her left eye was midnight purple and right eye was green. Her name was Sakura. You left your codes list in M. Sakura was cut off by all the girls in the auditorium. Your sister is so cute. The girls yelled. And fast. Todoroki said. What's your name? Ashido yelled asked. Sakura. The girl replied. You have the list, Sakura? Kuramiya asked. Oh yeah. Here you go. Sakura said as she handed over the list to Kuramiya. Thanks. By the way, what are you all doing and why is he strapped to that thing? Sakura asked, pointing at Midoriya. I'll explain again. Hatsum exclaimed. Third explanation later. A multiverse? Awesome. Sakura exclaimed. I know, right? Say, would you like to join us? Hatsum asked. Sure. Sakura replied. Okay then. Get yourself a seat. And I'll type this in. Kuramiya said. Searching multiverse scenario hashtag searching multiverse scenario hashtag searching multiverse scenario hashtag search complete. Loading scenario. Load complete. Emulating scenario. Emulation complete. Playing multiverse scenario number 4. Midoriya and the Prisoner of Azkaban. What's an Azkaban? Kaminari asked. It's a fictional prison for dangerous wizards and is guarded by powerful and monstrous creatures called Dementors. It is also said that no one has ever escaped out from it alive. Yaoyorozu explained. How come you know about this stuff, Yamamo? Ashido asked. I also read a lot of fictional books. Yaoyorozu replied. The screen shows the school of Hogwarts from outside. I'm not writing the description because I know too well that everyone knows what it looks like. It looked like the season was between autumn and winter. Holy shit! That's our school? It looks amazingly awesome. As we look closer in one of the many windows of Hogwarts, we see an infirmary where only 4 people are present. I bet $1,000 Midoriya is in there. Recovery Girl said. It's on then. All Might said. These 4 were Principal Nizu, Izuka Midoriya, Momo Yaoyorozu, and Kaminari Denki. Apparently, Kaminari had injured his left leg and was on the infirmary bed, and Midoriya had several bandages on his body. Yaoyorozu was just visiting them. Nizu was there to have a little talk with them. We see All Might giving Recovery Girl $1,000. From the looks of it, Midoriya and Yaoyorozu were debating with Nizu about the one and only escaped prisoner of Azkaban. Sir, you know it. Tashinori is innocent. You have to stop them. Midoriya said. Tashinori? Some of the audience yelled. Who's Tashinori? More than half the audience asked. Me. All Might slowly raised his. You are the one who escaped Azkaban. Jiro exclaimed. But what sends you in there in the first place? Aizawa asked. Hey, how come I know? All Might exclaimed. I understand your concerns, Midoriya. But the thing is that the ministries will not listen to 3 teenagers like me. Nizu said. The rest 3 went silent on this. But there actually might be another way. Nizu said. Wait, sir. You mean? Yaoyorozu was cut off by Nizu. Yes. You get it now. Nizu said. What did you get, Yaoyorozu? Sakura asked. I dunno. Ask her. Yaoyorozu said, pointing at the screen. What is it? Both Midoriya's and Kaminari's question was ignored by the other 2. Anyways, Tashinori is in the top cell of the Dark Tower. If you succeed tonight, there will be more than 1 innocent life spared. Nizu said. Wait, someone else is in danger too? Kirishima asked. Well, you know the rules, Miss Yaoyorozu. You must not be seen. Nizu said as he began to walk out. Then he stopped and turned around to tell her something. I think 3 turns must do it. Nizu said as he walked out of the infirmary. What are you talking about, sir? Midna asked. I'm not sure, but I am presuming he means something related to time. Nizu said. Something related to time? Present Mike asked. The trio looked in the direction where the principal went. 2 of them were confused about what just happened. What the bloody hell was that? Kaminari asked. Sorry, Kaminari. But I don't think you can walk right now. Yaoyorozu exclaimed as she took out a golden necklace with 2 circles, one as a frame and the other filled. Right then, Nizu came back in to give one last instruction. Remember, you must not be seen. Nizu said and walked out. Yaoyorozu? What's going on? Midoriya asked the black-haired girl. Yeah. Tell us. The audience asked. Yaoyorozu then tied the necklace around her and Midoriya's neck and turned the dial on it 3 times. As a result, the time began to resume and they reached 7:30 in the morning. I knew it. Nizu said as he took a sip from his cup of tea. Where were we at 7:30? Yaoyorozu asked. I don't know. Going to Hagrid's? Replied a confused Midoriya. Come on. Nizu said we can't be seen. Yaoyorozu exclaimed as she and Midoriya ran outside of the castle-like school with Midoriya continuously asking her what was going on. Once out, they both hid behind a pillar. Look, it's Minoma. Midoriya said as the two looked at the scene where were Midoriya, Yaoyorozu, Kaminari, Monoma and two of his cronies. Me! Finally I get some screen time. Monoma yelled. Yeah. Congratulations, Monoma. All the students replied. Yaoyorozu then took out the necklace and explained the thing to Midoriya. This, Midoriya, is a time turner. Professor Cementos gave it to me. This is how I've been attending all the classes. Yaoyorozu explained. You mean like time travel? Midoriya asked. Yaoyorozu nodded in reply. Really? At one point I thought that too. Uraraka said. What? Ida asked. The fact that Yamamoto uses time travel to attend all the classes. Shiro replied. Say, Yamamoto? Did you happen to make a time machine? Jiro asked, making the other girl giggle. The two looked back where they see Yaoyorozu punch Monoma square in the face. Nice punch. Midoriya said. Thanks. Yaoyorozu replied. Ah, come on. Monoma yelled. Serves you right, copycat. Bakugo yelled. The duo watches as Monoma and the others leave. Then they followed their past selves to Hagrid's house. There they hid behind the big pumpkins. There they saw their past selves talking to Hagrid. I'm not writing a description. All of you know what he looks like. Wow, that's one giant man. Mineta exclaimed. Then they saw Nizu coming with a minister and Fudge. They realized that their past selves weren't leaving. Why aren't we leaving? Yaoyorozu asked. They both thought of something and then Yaoyorozu picked up a stone and threw it inside through the window, breaking a vessel and driving everyone's attention. What are you doing? Midoriya whispered asked. Making us leave. Yaoyorozu said as she threw another stone which hit the past Midoriya. That hurt. Midoriya said as he rubbed the spot where the stone hit him. Sorry. Yaoyorozu apologized. I can't imagine how weird it would be to see your past selves like that. Shoji said. The duo then saw their past selves leave the house and the other three waiting on the front door get in. Midoriya and Yaoyorozu then hid behind the trees nearby. Is that what my hair looks like from the back? Yaoyorozu asked herself. This raised suspicion in their past selves. But they hid themselves properly. Soon enough, their pasts left the place. You shouldn't be worrying about your hair in that situation, Yamamoto. Ashuri said. Come on, let's grab Buckbeak and go. Yaoyorozu said. Oh yeah. Nizu said if we succeed tonight, more than one innocent lives will be spared. Midoriya said in realization. The two then steadily moved towards the tied hippogriff. Buckbeak. Buckbeak. Come on man, get up. Midoriya whispered as he untied the beast. What is that? Sato asked. It's a hippogriff. It's a half-eagle and half-horse creature. It's a creature with great pride. It's easily offended. Only shows loyalty to who respects him properly. Todoroki said. Wait here. Yaoyorozu said as she went back. Within seconds she came back with a few dead ferrets. Here, Buckbeak. It's your favorite, she said as she fed the creature who followed the two after the dead mammal. Soon enough, Nizu, Fudge and the minister with Hagrid came out only to find the beast that was to be executed missing. Meanwhile, Midoriya and Yaoyorozu were hiding in the trees with the beast. Oh, so he's the other one who was in danger. Kirishima said. They're killing two birds with one stone. Nice. Shinso said. Midoriya and Yaoyorozu were now seen to walk through the forest with Buckbeak following them and eating the dead ferrets on chance. Hey, Yaoyorozu? Midoriya called for the black-haired girl. You know, back at the lake, I really did saw someone. Midoriya said, gaining the girl's interest. What? When the Dementors attacked us, I saw someone who used a Patronum to save us. Midoriya said. He got attacked by the Dementors? Everyone yelled. But Midoriya, a Patronum is a really powerful spell. Only a great wizard could have done that. Yaoyorozu exclaimed. I know. Maybe that's why I SW and why dad there. Midoriya said. But Midoriya, Yaoyorozu was cut off by Midoriya. Dad. I know. I'm just telling you what I saw. Midoriya replied. Wait, his father died? Uraraka yelled. That doesn't sound really good. Shiozaki said. But he said that he saw him. Togata exclaimed. Midoriya and Yaoyorozu were interrupted by a long howl. What was that? Yaoyorozu asked. Wait, oh no. Professor Aizawa. Midoriya exclaimed as the two saw a distant scene where the past Midoriya was being targeted by a werewolf. Dementors. Hippogriffs. And now werewolves? Really? I love this place. Present Mike exclaimed. But he looks like he is planning to attack him right now. 13 yelled. AAA. Yaoyorozu howled. Don't tell me she is also a werewolf. Hagakure exclaimed. What are you doing? Midoriya asked. Saving your life. Yaoyorozu replied as she howled again. Thanks. Oh. Yaoyorozu howled. The werewolf howled back and came running towards them. Great. Now I'm coming for them. Aizawa said. Oh great. Now he's coming for us. Midoriya said. Yeah. I didn't think about that. Run. Yaoyorozu said as they both ran in deeper in the forest. Running away is not a manly thing. But since that werewolf is a teacher, I don't think they had any other choice. Kirishima said. The two ran deeper into the forest and the werewolf kept chasing them. They soon stopped at a dead end and now the werewolf was growling and slowly advancing towards them. Someone please help them. Everyone mentally prayed. As the beast came closer and jumped on the two, Buckbeak threw him away with his beak and the two creatures began to fight. However, the victor was declared Buckbeak and the werewolf ran away with injuries. Buckbeak, on the other hand, stood with pride. Yee! Nice work, Buckbeak. Midoriya said as he petted the beast. Then he addressed the other girl. Come on. We have to get to the lake. Midoriya said and she nodded in reply. The two then ran in another direction. Yay! Now we'll see Deku's father. Uraraka exclaimed. I doubt that round face. Bakugo said. When the duo reached their destination, they saw the past Midoriya with all might, in his weakened form. Both were injured. And Dementors were all over the place. The lake was frozen. You see, anytime now. My dad will be just over there. And he'll save us. Midoriya whispered to Yaoyorozu who was hiding in the trees with him. Oh. My. God. Danger. They're in danger. Kaminari said. The duo saw that the Dementors were attacking both Midoriya and All Might. A few minutes passed but no one came. Midoriya was confused at this point. He will come. I know that he will. Midoriya said. Midoriya, no one is coming. Yaoyorozu said. Why is his father not coming? Vlad King asked. He is dead, Vlad. He can't. Aizawa replied. But, young Midoriya said he saw him. All Might said. Midoriya? Yaoyorozu called for the boy who was looking at the scene with losing hope in his eyes. I saw. Midoriya trailed off. Then they saw a Dementor, literally SCK All Might soul. Midoriya at seeing this jumped on the spot where he said his father will come and took out his wand and used a spell to save the two in front of them. Expecto Patronum. Midoriya yelled as a white force shield emitted from his wand that forced the Dementors away. Oh. He saw himself. I'm having many feelings. Same. He saw All Might's soul going back in him and the past Midoriya dropping unconscious. The other two then took Buckbeak and flew on it to the Dark Tower. You were right, Yaoyorozu. I didn't see my father. I saw myself. I used a Patronum to save us. Maybe because I saw myself do it before. Does that make sense? Midoriya yelled asked as the duo was riding the hippogriff. No. But I don't like flying. Yaoyorozu screamed as they flew over Hogwarts. But I like flying. Yaoyorozu said. On a hippogriff? Jiro asked teasingly. That I don't like flying. Yaoyorozu said. The two then reached the Dark Tower and released All Might from the top cell. Then we see them in a hallway outside of Hogwarts. Yaoyorozu was feeding Buckbeak with some dead ferrets while All Might and Midoriya were talking on the other side. Well, looks like they succeeded. Nizu said. Holy crap. I really do look like an escaped prisoner. All Might said. Midoriya sat on a bench and All Might bent to a height that their eyes could meet. Thanks for trusting me, young Midoriya. I promised I will never turn my back on my friends. All Might said as he caressed the boy's cheek. I know. Midoriya replied. All woo. The girls cooed. A warm scene in a dark story. Tokoyami said. You probably would be tired of hearing this, but that you look so much like your father. Except your eyes. You've got why. All Might was cut off by Midoriya. My mother's eyes. I know. Midoriya said. All Might smiled at him. Midoriya then hugged All Might and Yaoyorozu told them that it was time leave. All Might stood up to leave but was stopped by Midoriya. Wait, Tashinori. Midoriya called him. All Might looked back at him. You know. Maybe one day that we can live together. Like you wanted to. Midoriya said. All Might looked at him and then smiled kindly. That I'm happy to hear that, young Midoriya. And I bet your parents would have been too. All Might replied. What are you adopting him or something? Recovery Girl asked. Which what? All Might's face reddened at her question. Dad Might? The students yelled. No. All Might said. So you don't want to? Midnight asked. I didn't say that. All Might exclaimed. Does that mean you want to? Cementos asked. No. I mean. Dash. Yeah but dash. Arg. Forget it. All Might said. All Might then sat on the hippogriff, ready to leave. But before he could, he said one last thing to Yaoyorozu. You know, you really are the brightest witch of your age. All Might said and Yaoyorozu smiled. I guess, I'll take this beast to a safe place then. See you around. All Might said as he took off with the beast. Even in the multiverse Yamamo is the smartest. Yaoyorozu's study partners exclaimed. Yaoyorozu and Midoriya then ran back into the school and straight up to the infirmary. Before they could get in they saw Nizu closing the door of the infirmary. It's done. Yaoyorozu said to him. What's done? Nizu asked knowing the answer full well. Then he left the place. Yaoyorozu and Midoriya shrugged at each other and went in the infirmary, only to see the time when they were leaving by a matter of seconds. As the other two disappeared, Kaminari looked at the two standing at the door. Wait, how'd you two get there? A confused Kaminari asked. What are you talking about, Kaminari? Yaoyorozu shrugged. Yeah. How can someone be at two places at once? Midoriya said as he and Yaoyorozu laughed. Kaminari was still confused. They succeeded. And saved 2 lives today. Maybe more than 2. And that's all that matters. And the screen blacked out. Wow. Ojiro said. You know this makes me want to go there. Kirishima said. Well, I guess I know what we're inventing next. Hatsum said as she looked at Kuramiya. Oh, you know it. Kuramiya replied. Time for a break. Nizu said and everyone left the auditorium one by one. Hatsum also unstrapped Midoriya so he could also take a break. Multiverse number 5. Everyone was having some lunch at Lunch Rush's cafeteria. I did what? Midoriya yelled as his classmates told him the stories of what they've been watching. Currently, Midoriya was shocked to hear that one of his counterparts killed All Might and then shot himself in front of the entire city. I told you, bro. It wasn't you. It was your counterpart. You shouldn't be worrying about that. Kirishima said. But still it was pretty disturbing. I'm gonna have nightmares. Kaminari shuddered. They kept on chatting until Hatsum called them back to the auditorium and once again Midoriya was stepped into the machine and everyone took their respective seats before the next scenario began to play. Searching multiverse scenario #searching multiverse scenario #searching multiverse scenario #search complete. Loading multiverse scenario. Load complete. Emulating scenario. Emulation complete. Playing multiverse scenario number 5. Goodbye. The screen shows a number of people walking together towards a graveyard who were wearing black clothes. It was raining and the sky was overcast by dark clouds. Some people had umbrellas in their hands and the others couldn't help but care less about the rain and grief more about their fallen companion, son, friend, student, and love. Oh no. Someone died. Uraraka said. It does looks like a funeral. Shoji said. How did this happen? Scratch that. Why did this happen? Why did it has to happen? It shouldn't have been him. He didn't deserve this. He was an amazing person. He was just an innocent kid. He was a hero. I hate how I know where it is going. Kirishima said with tears in his eyes. Same. Shiro said. Amongst the many people we see Inko Midoriya crying her eyes out on her friends, Mitsuki Bakugu's shoulder while the blonde woman comforted her whilst crying herself. Katsuki Bakugu was staring at the black coffin, without any visible emotions except for confused. Achiko Uraraka was crying heavily as she hid her face in Ida's shoulder who was himself crying. Kirishima and Kaminari still wouldn't believe what happened. Ashido and Azui wouldn't stop blaming themselves. Kyoka Jiro gritted her teeth in anger towards herself. Aizawa knew it was a bad idea. And All Might thought it was a joke. No way. Everyone swallowed hard. Please don't let it be him. But how? Yet what happened? Tokoyami looked at his left while clamming dark shadow down and there he saw it. In the black coffin, laid on of his greatest friends, a great companion, a great hero. There laid Izuo de Midoriya, completely lifeless and pale. Deku no! Uraraka yelled. Todoroki just stared at the screen, completely speechless. No 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 no! This can't be real. The teachers were also shocked and saddened to see their brilliant student and a future pro-hero lying in a coffin, dead. No young Midoriya. How? All Might said. Even though Todoroki didn't say a word since the entire incident. He still remembered it like it was just yesterday. Flashback. The class decided to go hiking on mountains in this winter, after Christmas. Even though the school was strict with curfews, Nizu agreed to let them go but with Aizawa and All Might. That sounded like a good idea. Sato said. Until you realize someone died in that trip. Tokoyami said. At the mountains, everyone stayed at a wooden cabin. But then, the day came when the students wished to climb up the mountain's peak. Aizawa and All Might stayed at the cabin while the students went to their journey as they gave the word to come back to their teachers or protect each other if there was any trouble. Once they reached their destination, they began to observe how beautiful the scenery was. And then it happened. Here it comes. Ashido said. Race for impact. Shiro added as the Baku squad, sans Bakugu, ducked under their seats. Why did you stuck me with these idiots? Bakugu asked God. It was all fun and games when the class heard a voice and then a splash. Jiro, watch out! Came Midoriya's voice as Jiro was pushed away from a nearby lake. Make that frozen lake. And when the class turned around, Midoriya was nowhere to be seen. But what was there? Yaoyorozu asked. Nobody but Midoriya saw him. The villain that was aiming for Jiro. But Midoriya. He pushed her away from the villain's trap and fell into it himself. The trap being the villain's chain quirk, Midoriya was dragged into the frozen lake. He died while saving. Me? Jiro said, who could only stare at the screen. Legitimately something Midoriya would do. Shinso said. How long was he down there when Azui and Yaoyorozu went to help him? How long did it took the others to comprehend what happened? How long did it take Ashido to get the teachers? Answer? Only one. Enough time for Midoriya to lose his ability to breath again. I can't believe. It's all my fault. Mito. I'm useless. Ashido said as she saw what happened. We were all useless, Mina. We were all useless. Azui said, lowering her head. Even though Azui got Midoriya back on the surface and Yaoyorozu fought the villain, he was not breathing. He was cold, pale and still. Ida immediately stepped in and started to perform basic CPR on Midoriya. Ida kept on trying to bring his green-haired friend back to breathing, but in vain. Everyone around was crying and sobbing. Ida gave him numerous rounds of chest compressions. Heck, he even tried mouth-to-mouth but in vain. And it was when more than 15 minutes passed then the students came to a horrible realization. Midoriya Izuku was no longer alive. I don't want to be in that situation. Kaminari said. No one does, man. No one. Ojiro said. Drowning is one horrible way to die. Cementos said. Name a way that isn't. Midnight added. And now, there they were, sobbing as their friend was lowered into the ground and they placed red roses over his grave. But 2 roses were white, and they were placed by Inko Midoriya and Katsuki Bakugu, as they were the only 2 familiar with the fallen boy's favorite flower. I don't really know about his favorite flower. I just put it there. I honestly didn't know that. Uraraka said. As everyone left, Inko couldn't help but recall what Izuku said to her years ago. What could he say? Todoroki wondered. It was Izuku's 9th birthday when he wished to go out with his mother. The sun was setting when they were coming home back. Izuku said something to Inko that left her surprised and confused. When I die, don't cry. Just look at the sky. And say goodbye. DMN. That just did something to my heart. Kirishima said while crying. Everyone agreed with him while some of them were also crying. Inko looked at the grave of her son with tears in her eyes and then at sky. Goodbye, Izuku. Inko said as she looked at the cloudy sky. And then the screen blacked out. That was sad. Kendo said. Then prepare for more sad. Kuramiya yelled. No! Multiverse number 6. Sakura belongs to at Uravity 0102. No! Sorry, too late. Kuramiya exclaimed as she typed in a new set of codes. Then the search began once again. Searching multiverse scenario # searching multiverse scenario # searching multiverse scenario # search complete. Loading multiverse scenario. Load complete. Emulating scenario. Emulation complete. Playing multiverse scenario number 6. Patient number 103. Patient 103? What the hell? Zero asked. Let's just watch. Jiro said. The screen showed a wide barren landscape. A black truck, with the words IQMA were written on its right side in white, is seen to go through the barren area, and as it goes we see a large building with the same words above its entrance. What's IQMA? Kaminari and Hato asked. But something in that acronym caused Nizu to flinch and shiver in fear of something. Sir, are you okay? All Might asked. What? Yeah. I'm fine. I just need some more green tea. Nizu exclaimed as he, somehow, got another teacup filled with green tea. It stands for International Quirk Maintenance Agency. They keep people with dangerous and really unique quirks under their custody. No one really knows what they do to them. Yaoyorozu answered the question. Guess we are about to find out then. Hagakure said. We see a boy with green hair, green tear-filled eyes and a freckled face who looked about 8 years old, being dragged out of the vehicle and into the building by some men. His name was Izuku Midoriya. 103 was written on his cheek with a permanent black marker. Wait, why is Deku here? Uraraka asked. And why is he crying? Kirishima asked. He is just a kid. And he is being forced into a place where who knows what happens. Do you not even expect him to cry? Shiozaki said. Hey, I was just asking. Kirishima defended. Day number 1. I was taken into the custody of IQMA because of my quirk. Midoriya narrated in his normal voice. He is narrating this? Awesome. Sakura exclaimed. My quirk is one of the most powerful and highly dangerous quirks. My quirk was time freeze. I could freeze the life of everything I wanted to just by pointing at it. And release them when I wanted to. It could have been a great power to be used to become a hero. Until the day came when I realized it was unstable. How can a time-freezing quirk become unstable? Ojiro asked. Let's just let him explain. Tokoyami said. My quirk was unstable. Everything I pointed at was paused. But it never came to life again. The first and the worst victim of my power being my mom. He narrated as he let out a choked sob. Why can't the universe go easy on the kid? Recovery Girl said. Yeah. We need something soft after this. Hatsum said. Hell no. Both, Sakura and Akira exclaimed. As I was taken into the large building, I heard screams and cries of people which terrified me more. I decided not to say anything for now, but as they stopped dragging me, I was shoved into a room where I found out what happens here. Midoriya narrated as the screen showed the little boy in some sort of lab. There he was strapped to a table and a doctor started doing experiments on him. He injected him with different chemicals and also took some of his blood to run tests on it later. As the doctor kept injecting the small kid with various serums, the boy cried in pain and agony. And this was just day 1. Those monsters! How dare they hurt a little boy like that? Togata yelled. Why isn't anyone noticing this treatment? Edo asked. The IQMA doesn't let unauthorized persons in. Just like you. But every authorized person is the same monster as the other. The patients have no one to help them because they don't even let any sort of news leak from their department. That's why no one is noticing this treatment. Aizawa replied. Seeing a little kid being tortured is just frustrating. Snipes said. Day number 23. I am currently a part of some nutrition-based experiment. They injected a new chemical into me at least 4 days ago and left me to starve just to see how long I can survive. For right now, I would be lying if I'm not hungry. But I'm still thankful that they at least give me some water to drink. I have already passed out for 2 times. I just want to get out of here. Please someone, a hero, please save me. Midoriya narrated as we see the little boy in a cell barely conscious because of all the starving. There were also many bandages on his body which were covering the cuts he got from all the experiments. Oh! My! Explosions! Everyone looked at Bakugo at the moment. What? Bakugo asked. And nothing. Everyone said as they looked back at the screen. Day number 35. I'm dying. I'm dying. I'm dying. If I'm not, then I want to. I just want to die. They even stopped giving me water. I can't even stand up. How long has it been since I've eaten something? I think maybe 18 days. How old am I? I don't remember. Maybe it was 8? What was my name again? I don't remember. Maybe. What was it? Maybe. What was my name? I forgot my name. What was it? I should remember it. It's not a side effect. Is it? My name. Thoas? I know. My name is 103. Midoriya narrated as we see the little greenette smiling faintly before passing out again. Please stop doing this to him. Ashido exclaimed as some of the audience were. Crying for the poor kid. This is not good. He thought 103 is his name. I can't believe this. Ida said. May you career in hell, el enemy de mon ami, Aoyama said. Amen. Day number 63. The nutrition experiment went horribly wrong. I mean, people started to eat themselves. I was so scared when I first saw that. Thankfully, those who remained unharmed, including me, were taken to different cells and finally, after what felt like a lifetime, we were given something to eat. I cried so hard that day. I bawled and called for my forever frozen mom and my unknown father. I screamed until my throat got sore. I was just so happy, I couldn't control myself. While at the same time, I couldn't help but feel sad for those who died in that experiment. Feel sad for those who lost flesh from their limbs. I couldn't help but feel an unstoppable urge to somehow help them. But I couldn't. I couldn't use my quirk to help them because I didn't have the courage to. I was so scared of myself. Please, save them. Please, All Might, save them. Leave me, but save them. Midoriya narrated as the screen showed the little boy mentally praying for others. My boy, that I'm so sorry that if only I could just come there and help you. All Might said. That poor little thing. Praying for others before anything. Recovery Girl said as she wiped a tear of her eye. Is there really no one to rescue him? Uraraka asked. Day number 87. Today I made a friend. First one after Kaken. We even share the same cell. Midoriya narrated happily. God, his innocence level is too high. Hagakure exclaimed. He is just too happy to have a friend. Todoroki said. But who? Kaminari asked. The screen shows the little Midoriya in a cell talking with his new friend. His friend had the digits 104 written on his forearm. What's your name? Midoriya asked innocently. My name is Nizu. And you are? Nizu asked. I'm 103. Midoriya replied while smiling brightly. Principal, and is you? Oh my god, were you experimented by them too? You shouldn't be asking this stuff. Nizu said. Day number 117. Today Nizu had told me his plan to get out of here. Midoriya narrated. The screen shows Midoriya nodding to Nizu as they both waited for the next experiment. Soon enough a man came to take patient number 103 to Central Lab. This was Midoriya's chance to save every single patient in the faculty. Midoriya followed the man to the Central Lab, and when they entered the lab Midoriya used his quirk. Yeah. Go Midoriya! Zero exclaimed. Save them Deku! Uraraka exclaimed. Midoriya used his quirk and pointed at every doctor and guard in that room. They all froze. No one had the time to even run a security alarm or anything. Midoriya looked at them with fear rising in his eyes. Then he shook his head, remembering what he was here for. No. I can't feel bad now. I have to save these people. They need me. I'll be their hero. Midoriya said to himself. Yes, you will be. The audience cheered. Midoriya then released the few patients that were strapped to metallic tables in that room. Then one of them decided to move the plan forward. He put on one of the guards' uniform and went straight to the cell where Nizu was. He was patient. His name was Tenko Shimura. His quirk, disintegration. Is it just me or 056 looks a lot like Shigaraki? Kaminari asked. He does looks like him. Jiro replied. All Might visibly flinched after looking what mess his successor and his predecessor's grandson were in. Shimura successfully got Nizu out of his cell and back to the Central Lab. From there Nizu hacked their main computer and turned off all security cameras and alarms. Then he opened every single cell in the faculty. He even checked if there were any other experiments in any other lab going on. But thankfully, the Central was the only one. Then he opened the main gates and directed every patient to the way out of the hellish prison via microphone. Is no one noticing their escape? What a pathetic faculty. Monoma said. Why can't you let us enjoy good moments, Monoma? Kendo asked. 104, don't you think it's a little risky to announce our escape like that? Shimura asked. Don't worry, young man. I've got 103 to freeze every guard and doctor in the faculty. For a side note, you can call me Nizu. Nizu replied. Yeah. Oi, Nizu. But he is just a kid. Don't you think it was dangerous to send him alone? Shimura asked. Don't worry. He's a brave boy. He will be. Look, there he is. Nizu said as Midoriya entered the room. Does that answers your question, Monoma? Vlad King asked. Michim. Still a pathetic faculty. Can't even hold their own against a kid. Monoma said. After that the trio escaped the building. Once in the city, they informed the police and the pros about the situation. IQMA was permanently banned from doing any sort of experiments and having the custody of unique quirk users all over the world. As for the patients, they were taken by professional doctors to get help with their quirks, under the supervision of the pro heroes. Once they got a control over their quirks, they were sent back to their families. And those who didn't have any family left were given separate residences and jobs. Nizu once again started his job as the principal of UA Academy. As for the kids like 103 and 056, they learned to control their quirks and they were taken under the wing of Nizu and UA, with the high hopes of one day becoming great heroes. And with that the screen blacked out. Well, at least it had a happy ending. Yayarozu said. Time for one with a crappy ending. Kuramiya said. I swear to God, Kuramiya. If you dare. Technical difficulties. Please stand by. Multiverse number 7. Before we start I might tell you that romance is not my thing. So it might not be good or anything. Sakura belongs to http://. Technical difficulties fixed. Back to the show. What's up guys? Your best girls, Sakura and Achiko, here with another. Scratch that it's actually our first vlog. Uraraka said while making a vlog with her phone and a selfie stick. Anyways, After hours of convincing, which means torturing Akira to play a soft multiverse, we finally succeeded. Sakura exclaimed as they turned off the phone and went back to their seats. Now, Hatsum was the one entering the codes while Kuramiya was sitting beside her. Now we get something normal, the audience thought. Searching multiverse scenario # searching multiverse scenario # searching multiverse scenario # search complete. Loading multiverse scenario. Load complete. Emulating. Scenario. Emulation complete. Playing multiverse scenario number 7. First date. There's gonna be some romance here. Ashido exclaimed as she threw her arms in the air. I wonder who will be his date? Todoroki asked. All the female students, and Midnight, started thinking if it would be them at his question. The screen showed the common area of 1A Heights Alliance dormitory, where all the boys of Class 1A were sitting and talking. You guys did what? Midoriya yelled asked his classmates while his face turned red as a tomato. Just set you up a blind date. Kirishima replied much more calmly while smirking. Oh, a blind date. Ashido exclaimed as her face beamed with joy. I don't know why, but I think I know who is the Shansu Fi, Aoyama said. A BB blind date? Why would you do that? I'm obviously not that good at this stuff. What if I messed up everything? What if I don't even know who she is? Oh God, I don't even know what are you supposed to do on a date. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? What if I did something wrong or something else? This is gonna be a total train wreck. Oh man, I'm gonna mess up badly. What if an accident happens? I don't even know anything about girls. I barely even talk to our classmates without stuttering. What am I going to do? And Midoriya kept on muttering nonsense. Typical Midoriya. Dude, Midoriya. Chill man. Kaminari said as he tried to stop Midoriya from muttering continuously. This is why you can't get yourself a girlfriend, DMN nerd. Bakugu said. And what about you, Bakugu? You are single too, you know. Siro said teasingly. None of your shitty business and I prefer single, tape arms. Calm down. Calm down. Will someone kindly tell me what to do? Midoriya asked. Gladly. His classmates replied. Meanwhile, at Lunch Rush's cafeteria, all the girls of Class 1A were talking. You guys did what? Uraraka yelled asked her classmates. Just set you up a blind date. Hagakure replied. Uravity.exe has crashed. Oh. My. Crippling anxiety attack. Everyone looked at Shinso at the moment. What's wrong? Everyone is doing that. Shinso said. That's not what we're staring about. Isn't it pretty obvious? Shinso asked. With who? Uraraka asked. Well, now if we tell you, it won't be a blind date now, will it? Yaoyorozu said. And don't act like we will put you up with some stranger. Ashido exclaimed. I know him? Uraraka asked. Pretty well, Ribbit. Azui replied. But wait, I can't go. Didn't you see the news? The news today. It's gonna rain tonight. Uraraka said, trying to escape the blind date. That'll just make it more romantic. That'll just make it more romantic. Now what do I do? Uraraka asked as girls started talking about preparing her for the first date with her first crush. Uraraka has a crush on Midoriya? I totally saw that coming. I knew it from the beginning, Aoyama said, while the said girl was hiding her red face in her hands, resulting in her to float around the auditorium uncontrollably. Tim skipped back at the boys. They were telling Midoriya about what they have planned for him. So I'm supposed to meet her at the cafe you named earlier? Midoriya asked. And you have to be there at exactly 6:30. Yes, 6:30. Siro said, and everyone in the room went silent. What is this silence implying? Ida asked. You mean like in 10 minutes? Sato asked, breaking the silence. Oh, sure. 10 minutes. Midoriya exclaimed. Nice timing you set there for your friend's first date, Siro. Kaminari said. Hey, it's not my fault. Siro replied. Midoriya tried to run towards the said cafe after putting on some decent clothes as fast as he could. But when he got out of the dorms, he was immediately called back by Ojiro, who reminded him about the roses he left on the common areas table. After picking up the roses, Midoriya ran out of the dorms but was again called back by Todoroki, who told him that he forgot his phone. Third time, Midoriya ran out of the dorms, he was called by Ida. Now what? Midoriya asked. You should be back before 10, understood? Ida said, doing his robotic gestures. Seriously, Ida? That I am the class representative, I have to make sure about it, okay? Ida said. But you don't have to be our mom. Fine. Geez. Midoriya said as he ran to the cafe. A few minutes after Midoriya left, Uraraka came out of the dorms in a pink knee-length dress and headed towards the same cafe. While the remaining class A watched her as she went out. We are totally going to spy on them, right? Hagakure asked. Oh, we are totally going to spy on them. Ashido said. I would have done the same thing, you know. Ashido said while Uravity.exe was still not functioning properly. Midoriya reached the cafe by 6:40 as it was quite far from the dorms. As he entered the cafe, he went and sat on the table his classmates guided him to. For some reason, it was next to the largest glass window in the cafe. Midoriya waited for some time when he realized he wasn't the only one late. Was this some kind of joke? He thought. Of course not, bro. Jokes like that aren't manly. Kirishima exclaimed. A few minutes later, Uraraka rushed in the cafe, mumbling apologies for being late to no one. Midoriya saw her and his face turned even redder than before that he hid his face behind the menu that was laying in front of him on the table. He is so cute when he is embarrassed. The girls, sans Uraraka, whose system was still crashed, said. Uraraka came and sat next to Midoriya, whose face was still hidden. Uraraka was also blushing and was pretty nervous, but still she was the one who started the conversation. So, are you okay? Uraraka asked while stuttering. Then, from behind the menu, a mop of green hair raised a bit to answer her and she got the whole idea. Yeah. Midoriya replied. Deku? Hi, Uraraka. And both of them were totally red. Is it just me or is Midoriya really looking like a strawberry? Edo asked. Definitely a strawberry. Oh my god. Deku, I didn't even knew, I mean did you? Oh my god. What am I saying? Uraraka exclaimed. I saw it. You know. I'm as surprised too by this. Midoriya said, trying to reassure her. But. Midoriya said as Uraraka looked up at him. Both of their faces were beet red. But what? Uraraka asked. But I'm kinda glad that I'm really glad that you're here. Midoriya said. Are really? Uraraka asked and Midoriya nodded. Shakily in reply. I'm glad too that you're here. Uraraka said. Actually, why are our counterparts missing this scene? I love seeing these two together so much. The We Ship Izuoka squad, namely everyone, exclaimed. Well, at least we are seeing this. All Might said. Since when were you interested in this? Aizawa asked. What can I say? I've always been a sucker for love stories. All Might replied. Hey Deku. You know our friends are gonna spy on us? Probably. So, they basically trapped us here, huh? Well, there actually is an escape route if you are willing to. Of course. Let's just get out of here. Hey, they're ruining our plans. No fair. The screen shows the rest of class. 1. Students finally arrived outside the cafe. What took them so long? Ida's lectures. After that they came, with Ida, to cafe to spy on their two friends. Hagakure looked through the large glass window only to find the reserved table empty. Guys. They're not in there. Hagakure said to her classmates. What? Where could they go? Kirishima asked. Try calling them. Yaoyorozu said, and with that Azui called Uraraka and Ida called Midoriya. But both of their phones came in busy or were off. It's busy, Ribbit. Azui said. Same is the case with Midoriya. Ida said. So they turned off their phones too. Ojiro said. I wonder what is this escape route, as Midoriya said. Yaoyorozu said. Check if they went back to the dorms. Zero said, earning a "No they didn't" in reply. Do you think they tricked us and escaped the whole date thing? Jiro said. Seems like it. Kaminari replied. Took you long enough to figure it out, dumbass. Monoma said. Then suddenly, drops of water started to fall down. Upon looking up they saw dark clouds and a slight drizzle accompanied by a cool breeze. It's raining. Well, guess what? Achiko was right about the rain thing. Yeah. Come on, let's go back and wait till they return. Yamamo, can you make us some umbrellas? Sure thing. Seriously? You let it slide like that? I would have hunted them till I figure out what happened between them. Ashido pouted. But just where are they? And with that the group of teenagers went back to their dorms. Meanwhile, come on Uraraka. Midoriya exclaimed as he and the said girl were running at Dagoba Municipal Beach Park, in the rain. I'm not as fast as you know. Uraraka said as she activated her quirk to enhance her speed but resulted in crashing into Midoriya. Well, now who's fast? Midoriya asked as Uraraka landed on the top of him. Oh, there they are. Sato said. There they are, living life as a newfound couple. On a beautiful beach park under the rainy sky. Joyfully playing and running around. Loving each memory as they spent it. Learning the true values of time and love. Not giving a care to the cruel world around them. And obviously not thinking about my lonely and single soul. But still, I approve. Kaminari said as dramatic tears fell from his eyes. Vigil, we'll get you a girlfriend too. Zero said. Deku? I want to tell you that something. Uraraka said but was cut off by Midoriya's index finger pressed against her lips. Let me speak. Okay. Midoriya said and Uraraka nodded. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. The students chanted. What's coming? Todoroki asked. That you'll see, Todoroki. Uraraka. Uraraka, ever since I met you I wanted to tell you that I love you. Midoriya said as his face was beet red. That I love you too, Deku. Uraraka replied. Finally. I waited for this moment for so long. Manly. The rain had now stopped and the clouds were slowly clearing. The breeze was still cool. We see Midoriya and Uraraka staring at the moon in the now star-filled sky. Uraraka was, however, wearing Midoriya's jacket and her head was resting on his shoulder as he lovingly wrapped his arm around her waist. All the students of Class 1, sans you know who, and All Might, took pictures of the warm and lovely scene with their phones. Uravity.exe was still not functioning properly. Do you think we should go back now? The others must be worried. Uraraka said to the greenette. You ain't Ida said 10. Midoriya replied as Uraraka giggled. And with that the screen blacked out. I didn't mean that you should stay out of the dorms, leaving your fellows clueless of where you are, and enjoy a late-night date at a beach. Ida said while doing his robotic gestures. Ida, it's not even 10 there. Still. What did I miss? Uraraka asked as she was, somehow, back to her seat. You'll find out soon, dear. Multiverse number 8. Sakura belongs to @http_0esper. You'll find out soon, dear. What do you guys mean? Did something bad happen? Uraraka asked, totally clueless of the fact that her counterpart was now officially dating her crush's counterpart. We'll tell you when Midoriya takes another break. He too needs to know what happened. Kirishima said while smirking. Oh, okay. Uraraka replied joyfully. Can I enter the codes this time? Kuromiya asked. I'm letting Sakura do it. Hatsum said. And we are taking your coding privileges for 3 more multiverses. Power Loader said. Come on. I didn't choose that bad of multiverses. Kuromiya pouted while Sakura typed in the codes. Searching multiverse scenario # searching multiverse scenario # searching multiverse scenario # search complete. Loading multiverse scenario. Load complete. Emulating scenario. Emulation complete. Playing multiverse scenario number 8. Reality differs from dreams. What is up with the title? Monoma asked. You'll find out, Monoma. The screen showed the area around which the prison of Tartarus is located. It was a big mess. Broken buildings. The sound of police cars. Police force was everywhere. Tartarus itself was partially destroyed. Smoke and dust was everywhere in the air. News reporters were recording the scene from helicopters. After all, it was big fight. Second fight with All for One in a single year. What? The audience asked. No. Not that guy again. He is scary as F-. But who fought him? The Bakuga Rescue Squad asked. The only who can fight him now is ... But it can't be. He's too young to be fighting All for One. My boy. Please be safe. All Might thought. It's obviously the nerd. Bakuga thought. As the smoke fades, we are able to look closer. A clearer view of what has happened. We see a large crater in the middle of the area. And lying over there was All for One. Completely beaten up. With no longer power in his veins. Couldn't even feel a single quirk in his body. The final blow, the same United States of Smash, from the young hero, Deku, left him totally immobilized. He was finally defeated. It was the end of his reign as the symbol of evil. Hero Deku? He defeated him? That's my bro. Way to go, Midoriya. The audience kept on praising Midoriya's bravery. Then we see Midoriya, in his hero costume. He was injured. Cuts and bruises everywhere. His legs were shaking, but he was still standing. Smiling like All Might did. Throwing his fist in the air slowly but as a sign of victory. And seeing him, the crowd of people who were standing, some watching the fight from their homes, some helping others, everyone, just everyone, cheered for him. I'm so proud of you, my boy. All Might whispered. DKU. Uraraka's voice came from behind the greenette. He turned around to see the entire class approaching him. From the looks of it, they were also included in the fight and helped Midoriya fight the biggest villain of all times. You guys okay? Midoriya asked. No need to be worried. Just a few scratches, that's all. Ida replied. But nothing compared to you. Kirishima said. Hey, we were in the big fight as well. Kaminari exclaimed. The entire class fought him? Kendo asked. That's so manly of you guys. Tetsu exclaimed. Thanks, bro. Kirishima exclaimed. So, Eraserhead? Are you gonna expel them too? Present Mike asked. That's another universe. But let me make this clear, I'll expel all of you little sheets if you did something like that without my permission. Aizawa said bluntly. But we have our licenses . And I have every right to expel you. Aizawa said. So, this is it? We won. It's over. Bakugo said as he walked up to Deku. No, it's not over yet. It's just the beginning. Midoriya said, and everyone looked at him. Of a better world. Midoriya said as the entire class stood together looking at the sky. Imagine you can become a hero, OST playing in the background. Why does it feel like the end of an anime? Hagakure asked. I don't know. But with all the facts considered, Midoriya is like an anime protagonist. Zero said. Next thing you tell me that we are in a fanfiction. Ashido said. Oh please. That's ridiculous. Jiro said, rolling her eyes. From the distance, we can hear literally everyone cheering and repeating the hero name, Deku. Midoriya closed his eyes for a while and took a deep breath. He had completed the task he was chosen for. He has ended what started 9 generations ago. And he couldn't have done it without his friends on his side. The frantic screams and shouts of people was replaced by the cheers of his hero name. Deku! 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 Iku! Ku! You! And the voices began to fade away. Wait, what? The audience was confused. What's that supposed to mean? Todoroki asked. Let's just watch. I'm sure we'll find it out. Tokoyami said while the others nodded in agreement. It was all black now. Darkness was all Midoriya saw. You! A faint voice came. Ku! The same one again. But the green-haired boy couldn't quite register who or what was that. What was this voice even saying? Iku! It came again. More clearer than the last one. Deku! Midoriya shot up straight and looked at his surroundings. He was sitting in a dark room. Papers were scattered all over the place. He was sitting on a chair next to a desk on which some files on some heroes were laying. In front of him stood Bakugo in his costume. "When the hell will you stop sleeping on your desk, Deku?" Bakugo asked. "Oh, it was a dream?" All Might asked. "Well, that still doesn't explain the title." Monoma said. "Shut up, Monoma." Kendo said. "But what's up with this place? I've never seen it before, Ribbit." Azui asked. "Hey, Bakubro, you know anything about this?" Kirishima asked. Of course I don't." Bakugo replied. "Yeah, sorry about that." Midoriya then stood up and checked the time. Now as we look clearly, Midoriya is wearing a dark green vest over a white dress shirt and the sleeves of the shirt were rolled upwards, with a red tie. He was wearing matching dress pants and his signature red shoes and black gloves. "Is everyone here? It's time for the mission." Midoriya asked Bakugo. "Everyone is on their positions. We are just waiting for you," Bakugo replied as the duo walked out of the room. They were in some sort of underground base. "Arg, what's going on?" Edo asked. "No idea." Togata replied. "Maybe they're just going to capture a villain?" Yaoyorozu suggested. "Midoriya's appearance is making me think something else." Shoji said. "You know, I had a weird dream." Midoriya said as the two were walking towards an elevator. "And what was that about?" Bakugo asked as he pressed a button and the door of the elevator opened. "We were pro-heroes. And we defeated All for One. We were saving people, Kaken." Midoriya replied as the two stepped in the elevator. The doors of the elevator closed afterwards, taking them to their destination. Pfft. Pro-heroes? Well, that's pathetic. Bakugo laughed. Everyone went quiet on hearing what Bakugo said. They weren't heroes here? Does that mean they were villains? That I knew this was coming. Shoji said, lowering his head. Great. Just great. First it was just Midoriya. Now we all are villains. Sato said. Now the title is explained. Monoma said. I know, right? The world's most dangerous villain team as heroes. Just imagine and it'll make you explode. Midoriya said as the two stepped out of the elevator and now they were seen on the top of a building in Hosu. Just in front of them stood the rest of Class 1, students, fully armed. Most dangerous villain team? Mineta stuttered. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Ojiro said. Don't like the sound of it. Hagakure said. Everyone kindly take your positions, the mission is about to begin. Midoriya said and everyone nodded as they readied themselves and scattered to the locations Midoriya told them earlier. You two should take your seats, heroes. The show is about to begin. Midoriya said, looking at the peaceful city in front of him. What is he talking about? Ida asked. I don't know what exactly they're gonna do, but I bet it won't be pretty good. Jiro said. Time to say goodbye to the world. Endeavor. Midoriya smiled and the screen blacked out. Cliffhanger? Everyone went silent on hearing the fact that they planned to kill Endeavor. I wouldn't really mind that though. Todoroki. Multiverse number 9. Sakura belongs to at http://. I wouldn't really mind that though. Todoroki said and everyone looked at him awkwardly, not knowing his history with his father. I think we should just continue. Hatsum said. Yeah. Searching multiverse scenario # searching multiverse scenario # searching multiverse scenario # search complete. Loading multiverse scenario. Load complete. Emulating scenario. Emulation complete. Playing multiverse scenario number 9. Dragon Quest. The screen showed a wide clearing in a green forest. There was a small stream of water flowing towards north from south. A white horse is seen to be drinking water from the stream. The owner of the horse petted him. The owner appeared to be a certain half-white and half-red-haired person. He was wearing a white and blue royal dress and there was a sheathed sword connected to his belt. His name was Shoto Todoroki. Todoroki! Whoa, man. Am I seeing okay or are you looking like a prince? Kirishima asked, while the said boy was only interested in observing the beautiful white horse. Is this some kind of play? Yaoyorozu asked. Looks more like the medieval era to me. Jiro replied. A little away from him, near the trees, stood Tenya Ida dressed in a silver-white knight armor. He looked as if he was guarding his friends. On the grassy ground in the middle, two people were sitting. Izuku Midoriya, who was looking at a map and a compass, and Achiko Uraraka, who was sitting beside him. Midoriya was wearing a green vest over a white shirt and dark blue pants. White gloves and his signature red shoes with a brown satchel slung around his shoulder and a sheathed sword on his brown belt. Uraraka was wearing a tan gown and a small maroon shawl around her neck, brown leggings and a pointy wizard hat. She was holding a wooden staff which had a red jewel on its top. You all look so cool. Ashido exclaimed. Thanks, Mina. Uraraka replied. Guess what, I think it is the medieval era. Yaoyorozu said. Let's see, Todoroki is a prince I think? Ida is a knight. Midoriya looks like a traveler. And Uraraka is something like a mage? Am I right? Ojiro asked. Absolutely not. It's obvious that I am meant to be the prince, Mon-Ami, Aoyama said. You done yet, Midoriya? Ida asked the green-haired boy. That I think we should progress towards the northern region. I'm sure that we'll find the fire ravine there. Midoriya replied as he closed the map. Then let's get going. Todoroki appeared beside them. But wait, we also have to inform the others about the direction. Uraraka reminded them. At least someone remembers us. Shiro said while fake crying with Kaminari and Ashido. Don't worry, Uraraka. I think Tokoyami's dark shadow will be able to take them to the correct location. Midoriya said. Plus they have Yaoyorozu and Azui. They both know nearly every route. Ida added. And we only have Midoriya who knows anything about routes. Todoroki sighed as the said boy chuckled and rubbed his neck nervously. I was correct. Midoriya is a traveler. Ojiro said. Does that mean Yamamo and Tsu are also travelers? Uraraka asked. Guess we'll find out soon. Kendo said. With the direction decided, the four started their journey towards the north in order to find the lost fire ravine. They remembered clearly that why they were going there. Shoda Aizawa, their mentor, told them about one of the last fire-breathing dragons, and they were a great threat to the humans. The most dangerous one living in the fire ravine that was said to be the example of hell on earth. And now, as knights in training, it was their task to make sure he was no longer a threat to the humans. They are going to fight a fire-breathing dragon? Do they have a death wish? Mineta yelled. Actually, we all are going to fight the dragon, Ribbit. Azui said. This class keeps pushing me towards my death. Mineta yelled as he started biting his nails. There's no hope for you. Shiro sighed. Yeah. Plus it's not like we don't have our quirks here. Right. Kaminari added. Skip. The sun was setting. The four teenagers were now seen at a little distance from the so-called fire ravine. And there was no doubt that it was an example of hell on earth. The red-colored mountains around were dry and crusty. Lava was flowing in its depths in the form of a river. The temperature was high, and it wouldn't be a surprise if the rocks there were on fire. Here we are. Our destination, the fire ravine. Midoriya said as he looked at the said place. Oh. My. Book of Inidash. Mineta was cut off by Shiozaki. Holy Book of Bible. Praise the Lord. Amen. Shiozaki exclaimed. Yet and it's hella scary. Came a fifth voice from behind them. They turned around to see Kaminari, who looked like a gunman, with the rest of the class sans Bakugo and Kirishima, but hey, no one noticed. When did you guys come? Uraraka asked. Just a few moments ago. Tokoyami replied, who was petting Dark Shadow, who appeared to be an abnormally giant blackbird. Is that really me? Dark Shadow came out and asked. Yes, it is. Tokoyami replied. It's like we don't have any quirks, but we somehow have our somewhat powers, and we are going to fight one of the most dangerous creatures. Go figure. Hagakure said. But I look cool though. Kaminari said. Now that we all are here, we shouldn't waste any more time to end this task. Yaoyorozu said, who was wearing a pretty revealing knight armor. Mineta and Kaminari looked at the screen with dreamy eyes and they were drooling. But it didn't last long as Jiro stuck both of her earphone jacks into their heads and shocked them, making them stop from looking at her friend like that. The group of teenagers then made their way, bravely, to the habitat of the dragon. They had troubles throughout their way to the top cave where the dragon was. Like when they were walking on a weak and old bridge, Mineta accidentally got his leg stuck in the wood of the bridge. A few frantic moves and then the bridge broke, resulting in Azui and Siro to help their fellows to the other side. Next thing they were halfway from the top when suddenly they heard rumbling and then the rocks resting on the upper layer of the ravine fell on them. But thankfully, Uraraka knew her trick. She used her staff and casted a spell on the rocks, causing them to become weightless and go straight back up. Thanks, Achiko. Azui said. It was nothing. Uraraka replied. My quirk is a magic spell? Uraraka questioned. That's actually really cool. You know. Sakura said. Thanks. At last they reached their destination, the uppermost cave of the fire ravine. But as soon as they entered they were left utterly confused and shocked. There was the dragon and Kirishima and Bakugu was sitting on the dragon? What the? Get bent. Losers. I rule. Bakugu yelled. What's going on here? Jiro asked. Simple. IF defeated the demon dragon alone. Bakugu yelled. But how did you guys even find him? You guys were like right behind us. Ashido yelled. Yeah, we need answers. You see, me and Bakugu got separated from you guys and we got lost from the northeast 80th route. Get that? Next thing we just walked straight and ended up here. Kirishima explained. Seriously? Dumb luck. We almost died in the way. And you got there like, oh, we got lost. Oh, there's the dragon that got lost. Really? What can I say, I was born awesome. Bakugu shrugged. Then, why didn't you finished it off yet? Ida asked. Finished off what? Bakugu asked. You know, the dragon. Uraraka clarified. That he's my effing pet now. Bakugu replied. And everyone went silent. Are you serious? Sato asked. Does it looks like I'm joking? Bakugu replied with a smug grin. Bakugu, he eats humans. Todoroki said. So? I can really leave him to eat Deku, you know? Bakugu said. W.I. me? Shut up, nerd. And the screen blacked out. Siro coughed to drive attention. No matter. What universe? It is. Bakugu is. Always the number effing one. You know who said that? I think we should take a break now. All Might said. Yeah. Plus we need to tell something to someone. Multiverse number 10. Sakura belongs to http://spur. Yeah. Plus we need to tell something to someone. Ashido said teasingly while some other students snickered. Yeah. You have to tell me about what happened in the last multiverse, right? Uraraka asked as the others nodded their heads. Then Hatsum unstrapped Midoriya from the chair and everyone departed the auditorium to take a break. At Lunch Rush's cafeteria, Midoriya and Uraraka both spat out their drinks and their faces were absolute beet red. WW? They asked in a union. Yup. The rest of the class replied. Hi, IWW is DD dating. They both were cut off by Kirishima and Ashido. Your crush. They both said. Uravity.exe crashed again. Deku.exe is muttering understandable nonsense. They were meant for each other. Even All Might approves. I can see my beautiful future nephew and niece playing together. At least I can die knowing my ship has been sailed. Back to the auditorium. It took nearly an hour for Midoriya and Uraraka to get over the fact that they both were dating each other in another universe. After that they decided that they won't talk about it right now. Actually this decision was made between Midoriya and Uraraka only, while the rest of the class was planning a date for them after watching the multiverses. Now we see everyone on their respective seats while Hatsum typed in the codes. Searching multiverse scenario #searching multiverse scenario #searching multiverse scenario #search complete. Loading multiverse scenario. Load complete. Emulating scenario. Emulation complete. playing Multiverse scenario number 10. Deadpool. Deadpool? What's that? Hato asked curiously. Maybe a hero name? Togata replied. The screen showed a highway bridge on which Midoriya was sitting, with his legs hanging, in his hero costume with his mask on. A small radio was sitting beside him and there was Izu written on a paper taped to it. He was seen to make a crud crayon drawing of him shooting Bakugo, with the words, "Hi. I'm Kaken," written above. He was listening to the beat that was playing on the radio as he completed his drawing. Then as the camera zoomed closer to his face, he looked at the screen and spoke. Waf. Oh hello. I know, right? Whose ball did I have to fondle to get my very own show? I can't tell you. But it does rhyme with dreadword Tetrick, and let me tell you he's got a nice pair of smooth criminals down there. He said looking at screen. Fourth fall broken, bro. Kaminari and Zero yelled. Yeah, but who's dreadword? Uraraka asked. Just let the readers decide. Todoroki said in his usual monotonic voice. What? Fourth wall broken, again? Kaminari and Zero yelled. Anyways, I've got places to be and a face to fix and Midoriya said as he saw some black cars on the bridge below. And bad guys to kill. He said and the camera zoomed closer to show us a view inside one of the cars. There were sitting some random criminals. Wait. Did he just say that he's gonna kill them? That's an immoral thing for a future pro hero to do. Ida exclaimed while doing his robotic gestures. Take a chill pill, dude. Midoriya then stood up and jumped on one of the black cars with a perfect landing in the back seat before saying, "Maximum effort." His landing, however, caused the car to lose balance and hit another car away. While Midoriya and two criminals were punching one another in the back seat. Midoriya hit one of them behind the neck. PP shot. He said before he threw the criminal out of the car's boot, but the man caught the end of the car's bumper as he screamed. Ha! Midoriya laughed looking at him before the other criminal headlocked him and forced him against the back of one of the seats. Rich Corinthian leather, Midoriya said. I have a feeling that he has a twisted sense of humor. Ojiro said. With a spoonful of fourth wall breaking abilities. Sato added. And some spice of mature jokes. Hagakure said. And here I thought my students were innocent. Aizawa sighed. Then Midoriya backed up and kicked the other man in face twice and then grabbed his neck. I'm looking for Kaken. He said as he backed off. Have you seen this man? Midoriya asked holding up the drawing he was making earlier. That's one stupid and useless shitty drawing. Bakugo yelled. But dude, you do look like that. Kaminari said. What the hell did you say, dunce face? The car drove through a tunnel while the man repeatedly hit Midoriya's head on the radio's touchpad. With every hit, the channel changed. Ow. Midoriya said. Serves you right, dim and nerd. You know who said? Then another villain, riding a bike, is shown approaching the car. The criminal was still punching Midoriya's head, and Midoriya was still owing when the criminal took out his gun. Yankee. Yankee. Midoriya said as he moved away from the gun and the bullet that escaped the gun hit the driver in his hand, who in turn screamed in pain. The biker then shot the window of the car in order to shoot Midoriya, but the first criminal got shot while Midoriya was safe. Midoriya then kicked the now dead guy out through the door. The body crashed into the biker, taking him down. Oof. The criminal, who was holding on to the car's bumper, somehow managed to get back up. Midoriya saw this and pushed the driver away, and then he increased the acceleration of the car. The other criminal tried to attack the boy, but he kicked the driver in the face while the car hit another car. And Midoriya headlocked the other criminal and shoved a car cigarette into his mouth. I've never said this before, but don't swallow. Midoriya said. I'm kinda turned on by his dialogues. Midnight said as she liked her lips. Does no one care that my successor can get severely injured in that kind of fight? All Might thought. No. I don't think anyone does care about that, All Might. Recovery Girl replied, telepathically. Sighed at I thought that wait. What? All Might said mentally in surprise that Recovery Girl replied to him. Midoriya then saw another car approaching them, so he did what the most mature person on the planet would do. He, obviously, didn't do anything mature. He stuck his leg in the steering wheel and changed the direction of the car, resulting in the car to crash in another car and another, until it was total midair chaos. Then the screen showed the view in slow motion. Sheet. Did I leave the stove on? Midoriya said carelessly. Then everything went back to its normal speed. We could clearly see that the motorcycle's chain cut off the biker's head, killing him, and one of the criminals hitting hard on the nearest billboard and then dropping below. The rest of the cars that contained more villains stopped right before the car Midoriya was in. But he was the only one alive in that car. Holy shit. Well, that just happened. Wow. How is this guy still alive? You'll get to know in part 2. Kuramiya said. Wait, what does that mean? Multiverse number 10, part number 2. Technical difficulties fixed. Back to the show. The screen played again. Oh, hello there, Midoriya said from inside the car. He was previously in, looking at the camera. Sorry. Studio Bones is really acting like an overused DLD today. Midoriya said. Studio Bones? I think it's an animation studio there. Really? That's what everyone cares about? If I would have said the same dialogue, you all would have killed me by your glares. Mineta yelled. We are not like that, Mineta. Jiro said. Yeah, we wouldn't kill you for that. Yayarosa said. We would just throw you completely helpless and on the mercy of Satan in a burning dungeon, Ribbit. Ashri said. Bakugo can play the role better. Siro added. You wanna die, tape arms? See. Oh, didn't realize earlier that we have some readers here too. Midoriya whispered to the screen. What readers? We are watching this, not reading this. Ida said. I have no idea what that means. Yayarosa sighed. Anyways, I still have some bad guys to kill, hey. Midoriya said as he tried to get out of the car, but he came to meet a bunch of villains shooting at him. He immediately ducked behind the car and the bullets hit the car. He then slowly rose his hands up but was again met by more shooting. Wait! He called out. All the villains stopped and listened to him as he again rose his hands up. You guys must be wondering why the red suit? It's so that the bad guys won't see me bleed. This guy's got the right idea. He's wearing brown pants. Midoriya said, pointing at the nearest villain. But they in reply started shooting again and Midoriya ducked behind the car, again. That is actually pretty surprisingly smart of a guy with a personality like him to use a red suit for that reason. Vlad King said. What about you, Vlad? Snipe asked. What? Vlad King was confused. Why do you wear a red suit? Power Loader clarified. That I like the color, I guess? Fine. But I only got 12 bullets, so we gotta share. Midoriya exclaimed. He is acting like this is a goddamn game. Kaminari exclaimed. And that's what we love about this. Sakura said. The screen showed Midoriya's masked face as he pulled out 2 guns. Let's count him down. Midoriya said to the screen. Then he jumped up and did a flip as 2 bullets, with the numbers 11 and 12 written on them, escaped his guns and hit 2 villains in the head, killing them. What? Seriously? How can he do something like that? Oh, just my D-viewers. Midoriya said. What? Everyone yelled. Rest in peace, fourth wall. Ashido said. Then another biker came into view, who tried shooting Midoriya but missed. However, 1 bullet pierced through Midoriya's arm. He watched it as he heated up. Sheet. He then saw the biker coming back at him through the bullet hole in his arm. Motherfucker. He cursed. I really feel like something so terrible has happened whenever Midoriya says a bad word or kills someone in these multiverses. Kirishima said. What are you talking about? It makes me feel really great and proud for some reason. Bakugo replied. Midoriya tried to shot the coming biker. 10. He counted but his bullet missed. Sheet. 9. He shot again but he missed once more. Then the biker tried to shot him but also failed. Sheet. 8. He missed again. He then jumped over a car in order to aim at the biker, but the biker was gone out of his reach. Bad Deadpool. He lowered his head. But then he shot and killed the villain behind him. 7. Good Deadpool. He shrugged. I can't believe this. This is so detrimental for his hero career. And he doesn't even seem to care. I cannot accept this sort of behavior, and especially not from Midoriya. This must be stopped. His actions resemble those of a twisted mercenary. It's unacceptable. Ida yelled as he did his robotic gestures. For Horikashi's sake, I don't have time for your good boy bullshit, Ida. Midoriya yelled as he ran to avoid some bullets. Ida has been diagnosed by a severe malware in his boot sector. I have many questions. Todoroki stated. Like what? Are we watching him or is he watching us? Midoriya jumped over a car and hid behind another one while a villain tried to shoot him. But eventually the villain's gun ran out of bullets, so he stopped to reload. This gave Midoriya enough time to come up with a master plan, and he used this time maturely. Of course he didn't. So, did any of you readers ever had one of those lives? Midoriya couldn't complete his sentence as he was cut off by the villain shooting at him again. WH. Midoriya exclaimed and ducked behind the car. The villain continuously shot, but his bullets only hit the car. Then he jumped on the car and aimed at Midoriya, who was laying like he was on a beach vacation, but the villain came to realize that he used all of his bullets again. He is so dead. Tisk, TSK, 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 someone's not counting. Midoriya said as he shot the villain. 6. He said casually. Then 2 more are seen across the road, who hid behind another car. One of them took out a grenade and pulled out the hook, ready to throw it at Midoriya, but the latter had better accuracy. Midoriya, sassily, shot bullet number 5 to the grenade from a distance, making it explode and kill the 2 villains. I totally understand the fact that killing is a crime and the word itself doesn't fit with Midoriya in the same sentence, but I have to say this. That was badass. Kaminari exclaimed, with a few agreeing, while Kirishima and Tetsu neglected the theory. That wasn't badass. That was manly. Oh, Banzingas. Midoriya said as the rest villains tried to shot him, but he dodged. WH. But a few bullets hit him and he dropped down. The villain who shot him came near to him, constantly aiming at him. Point 4. Midoriya groaned as he shot him. Gotcha, he said as he stood up and shot the villain 2 more times. 3. Stupid. He yelled at himself. Worth it, he said calmly. Then he ran to avoid more bullets from the last 3 villains. How is he going to win now? He's got only 1 bullet while there are 3 loaded rifles against him. Uraraka said. Let's just pray for his survivor and watch him buttily, Aoyama said. The 3 villains got behind a car together, in order to kill Midoriya, but they didn't realize that the masked Greenette was right behind them, backflipping and using the one and only last bullet to shoot the 3 villains through one another's head, killing them all. Dude. That was more badass than last one. Autocorrect, manly. Midoriya then landed safely on the ground. He inhaled the smoke coming from his guns and exhaled heavily. I'm touching myself tonight, he said out of nowhere. And the screen blacked out. Well, that was something. Ojiro said. Yeah. Now we have to reboot Ida and give Kuramiya her coding privileges back. Finally. Multiverse number 11. The following scenario is taken from Infinity War. Sakura belongs to http://. Finally. Kuramiya exclaimed. Yeah. Searching multiverse scenario # searching multiverse scenario # searching multiverse scenario # search complete. Loading multiverse scenario. Load complete. Emulating scenario. Emulation complete. Playing multiverse scenario number 11. Infinity War. Infinity War? Amazing. What else can we expect from you, Kuramiya? Hey, you don't know if it's good or sad until you watch it. Kuramiya defended. The screen shows a jet plane flying over a sea and then a deep forest. On the jet we see Midoriya standing beside Tokoyami, who was piloting the jet. Drop to 2600 heading 030. Midoriya instructed. I hope you're right about this or we're gonna land a lot faster than you want to. Tokoyami said as Uraraka, Kirishima, Sato and Yaoyorozu appeared in the background, while Yaoyorozu was confronting Ojiro. Looks like something serious. Yaoyorozu said. Yeah. And what's up with me looking all? Ojiro trailed off. Depressed. Shoji suggested. Yeah. The jet then passed through a blue force field around the forest and they entered a city. Whoa. Now that was awesome. Kaminari said. Yeah. Siro agreed. But does anyone know what place this is? Kendo asked. Yunade no idea. Scene cut to the grounds of the city. We see Azui and Ishido waiting for the jet to land with a good number of guards on their sides. When you said that we were going to open Wakanda to the rest of the world, that this is not what I imagined. Ishido said to Azui. So it's called Wakanda. Huh? Kirishima asked. Tsu and Mina are looking like the commanders or heads of this place. Uraraka said. And what did you imagine, Ribbit? Azui asked. I dunno. The Olympics. Maybe even a Starbucks. Ishido replied. Really, Mina? She's a different me. But if I was at her place, I would have imagined the same thing too. Ishido replied. The jet landed on the city of Wakanda, and everyone on it got off. Midoriya and Tokoyami came out first, then Yaoyorozu and Ojiro, and then Sato and Kirishima and Uraraka. Should we bow? Sato asked the redhead. Yeah. She's a queen. Kirishima replied. Who's a queen? The audience yelled in surprise. On the other hand, Midoriya reaches out to shake Azui's hand. Looks like I'm always thanking you for something. Midoriya said and Azui smiled in reply. Then Sato walked up to them and bowed and everyone looked at him weirdly. What are you doing? Kirishima asked. You told me to bow. Sato exclaimed as some of the students chuckled. That we don't do that here, Ribbit. Azui assured him. Sato then glared at Kirishima. Tsu is the queen. I wanted to be the queen. Ishido pouted. But you look like the chief. Fair enough. So, how big of an assault should we expect, Ribbit? Azui asked them. I think you should expect quite a big assault. Sato replied. Something's telling me that this is gonna be bad. Tokoyami said. You heard the bird boy. His dark-o-meter is tingling again. How are we looking? Uraraka asked Azui. You will have my Kingsguard, the Border Tribe, the Dora Milaje and... Azui pointed back to a person. And a semi-stable 100-years-old man. A voice came. They all turned to look in the direction Azui was pointing at and came to meet Todoroki. Then Midoriya and Todoroki hugged each other as if they were meeting after a long time. How've you been, Todoroki? Midoriya asked as they broke the hug. Not bad for the end of the world. Todoroki replied casually. End of the world? Mineta yelled as he started biting his nails, but everyone ignored him. Are we just gonna ignore the fact that Todoroki is like 100 years old? Sato asked. We'll confront him about his real age later. Hagakure and Ishido said. Okay. But I'm 6T. We said later, Todoroki. The screen now shows a laboratory, which was in Wakanda apparently, where everyone outside was present. Apparently, it was Hatsume's lab. Ojiro was laying on an operation table while Hatsum scanned a yellow-colored stone in his forehead. Hey Ojiro? What's that thing in your head? Siro asked. I have no idea, dude. Ojiro replied. Everyone was stunned after seeing that yellow stone in Ojiro's forehead. So, do you really have it in your head? A curious Hato asked. No. Whoa. Sato said as Hatsume displayed the results of the scan holographically. The structure is polymorphic. Hatsume said. We have to attach each neuron non-sequentially. Sato added. Since when did Sato became the smart guy? Everyone including Sato asked. Why didn't you just reprogram the synapses to work collectively? Hatsume asked. Sato looked a little surprised at the question while Ojiro stared at him weirdly. Because we didn't think of it. Sato shrugged. I'm sure you did your best. Hatsume sighed. Can you do it now? Yaoyorozu asked in a little angry-like manner. What's up with you, Yamamo? Uraraka asked. I dunno. Yaoyorozu said. Maybe the fact that Hatsum is taunting Sato instead of helping them. Jiro replied. Hey. But there are more than 2 trillion neurons here. One misplacement could cause a cascade of circuit failures. It'll take some time. Hatsum stated. How long? Midoriya asked. As long as you can give me. Hatsum replied. Then suddenly, an alarm began to beep. Ashido quickly went to check and put up a hologram of the Earth. Something's entered the atmosphere. Ashido said. Then the screen shows some large structures that are sent out towards Earth from a space station. Not something. A lot of things have entered the atmosphere, ribbit. Azui said. But what are those? I have never seen or heard about anything like that before. Togata asked. As far as my brain can comprehend, the best thing I can say is that there is the army of the enemy in them. Niza said. So, the enemy is like aliens? All Might asked. Hey, Cap, we got a situation here. Tokoyami told Midoriya as he saw the structures land right outside the blue force field dome. Some of the structures even hit the dome in order to get through but exploded in result. Now, that's a good thing. God, I love this place. Todoroki said after seeing them explode. Yeah. Don't start celebrating yet, guys. We got more incoming outside the dome. Kirishima stated as some more structures land outside the dome successfully. Oh, now that's a bad thing. Back in the lab, Ojiro tried to lean up straight and Hatsum placed a steadying hand on his back. It's too late. We need to destroy the stone now. Ojiro said. Ojiro, get your butt back on the table. Uraraka instructed him. The other did as he was told. Oh, we got an Uraraka with an attitude here, Ashido said. And a Todoroki with visible emotions, Hagakure added. We'll hold them off, ribbit. Azui exclaimed. Then Midoriya turned to Yaoyorozu. Yaoyorozu, as soon as that stone is out of his head that you blow it to hell. Okay. Midoriya said. I will. Yaoyorozu said as a whisper. Why does Yaoyorozu look so emotional right now? Sakura asked. Something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen. I'm telling you. Something really bad is gonna happen. Mineta repeated. Evacuate the city, engage all defenses, and get this man a shield. Azui commanded. She pointing at Sato at the last part. Now the screen shows the battlefield, where several ships are flying to the battle lines while the ground army is standing fully armed, prepared to face the enemy. How are we looking, Sato? Uraraka asked Sato, who was in a big robotic suit, trying to operate it without any problems. Yeah. I think I'm getting the hang of it. Sato replied from inside the suit. Then he jumped to the battlefield to join the others in his suit. Who made those beautiful babies? I want their blueprints. Hatsum exclaimed. Wow. This is amazing. It's like using my quirk without actually. Sato was cut off as he tripped over a rock and Ashido gave him a disgusted look before he said that he's okay. I've got 2 heat signatures breaking through the tree line. Kirishima reported while he was in his own robotic suit. Himiko, Toga and Dabi are seen standing by the dome, away the structures. Hey, it's that crazy girl and that fire user from the training camp attack. The students yelled. But what are they doing here? Kaminari asked. They are the FE villains, Dunce face. You know who said, where's your other friend? Uraraka demanded from the 2 villains. You will pay for his life with yours. All for one will have the stone. Toga replied. All for one. Why does he need that stone? Why do I feel like I'm gonna die in this? Ojiro asked. That's not gonna happen. Midoriya said bluntly. You are in Wakanda now. All for one will have nothing but blood and dust now, ribbit. Azui chimed in. Yeah. Tell them, you guys. Don't let him take that stone. We have blood to spare. Toga smirked as the structures behind her started rumbling, leaving some of the warriors confused. They surrender? Todoroki asked. Not exactly. Midoriya replied. What's happening? Tetsu asked. The war. Shiozaki replied. The alien army spewed out of the large structures and Toga commanded them to attack. Then the aliens rushed towards the dome. What the hell? Todoroki asked. Looks like we set her off. Uraraka said. Aliens tried to pass through the dome but got themselves cut in halves, killing them. They're killing themselves. Ashido said. However, a few of them got past through the dome but couldn't fight for the villains as the heroes shot them down. You see the teeth on those things? Tokoyami said as he flew over the battlefield using a pair of robotic wings. Want blueprints? Hatsum said. Back up, Tokoyami. You're gonna get your wings singed up. Kirishima exclaimed as he used the rocket boosters in his suit to fly over the battle line. Then he dropped grenades destroying the front line. Bro, that's so manly of you. Tetsu exclaimed. I know, bro. Kirishima exclaimed. Cap, if these things circle the perimeter and get in behind us, then there's nothing between them and Ojiro. Sato stated. Then we better keep them in front of us. Midoriya said. How are we gonna do that? Ashido asked. We open the barrier, ribbit. Azui said, and Ashido looked to see her like she was crazy. Wait, if they open the barrier then they will have to face all of them on their own. Ida exclaimed. Better than to leave them on. Ojiro. Todoroki said. Azui turned to her calm and spoke. On my signal, open northwest, section 17. Azui commanded. Requesting confirmation. My queen, did you say to open the dome? The dome control center asked. On my signal, ribbit. Azui repeated. This is gonna be the end of Wakanda. Kendo said. Kendo is here too? Class 1B exclaimed. I'm really glad that I'm helping them in this kind of fight. Kendo said. Then it'll be the noblest ending in the history. Ashido said as Midoriya put up his shields and Azui commanded something in Kosa before saying, Wakanda forever. She exclaimed as she put on her mask and everyone ran and flew towards the structures. Now! Azui shouted and the said sector of the dome opened letting the aliens in. Then Azui and Midoriya took the lead and finished of the first few aliens. Oh god! That's a lot of aliens. Present Mike said. This is gonna be a really big fight for them. I hope that they win this without getting any harm to themselves. All Might said. How much longer, Hatsum? Azui asked through her calm. I've barely started. Hatsum replied. You might want to pick up the pace, ribbit. Azui exclaimed as she fought alongside Midoriya. Come on, Hatsum. The audience exclaimed. The war was still going on. Azui and Midoriya fought together. Then suddenly Muscular yanked Kirishima out of the air and then he and Toga stepped into Wakanda. The aliens also wouldn't stop. The heroes were starting to get outnumbered. There are too many of them. Sato yelled. The heroes were now outnumbered by the amount of aliens they were facing. They needed reinforcements. Where are the other heroes? Someone help them. Please be safe, guys. Just then, a Bifrost appeared in the middle of the battlefield of Wakanda, killing several of the aliens. Then an axe, the Stormbreaker, is shown as it going around and chopping the heads of the aliens. All the heroes look in the direction of the Bifrost. Koda, Gran Torino and All Might, in his muscular form, appeared at the scene. All Might Koda. That has to be the coolest entry ever. Sakura exclaimed. Correction, that is the coolest entry ever. Kuramiya exclaimed. But who's that old guy? Kaminari asked. All the students looked at All Might and Koda. Koda hesitated and shook his head without saying anything. He was my homeroom teacher during my first year at UA, young Kaminari. He is really a great teacher. All Might said while trying to hide the shivers he got after seeing his old teacher. Oh, that explains it. All Might sighed in relief. I can't believe you still shiver at his sight. Aizawa said and All Might tensed up again. The screen shows Midoriya, Uraraka and Sato overjoyed after seeing All Might with the Stormbreaker. Sato retracted his helmet and once again readied his suit to attack. You guys are so screwed now. Sato exclaimed. Then the three new fighters engaged in the battle and started to take down the aliens. Bring me all for one. All Might yelled in a demanding and angry way. Yeah. The audience was overjoyed after seeing their beloved symbol of peace once again powerful and fighting villains. All Might's got a powerful lightning axe and he even has his quirk. The villains are so done now. Back at the lab, Ojiro was having the stone extracted while Hatsum was working diligently. Yaoyorozu sighed and closed her eyes. Back at the battlefield, Muscular killed several heroes and warriors before Azui used an energy blast to knock him out unconscious. Show them who's the queen, Tsu. Gran Torino was shooting a bunch of aliens. Come on and get some space dogs. Gran Torino yelled as Todoroki appeared beside him and joined him in shooting the enemy. How much for the gun? Gran Torino asked the dual-haired boy. Not for sale. Todoroki replied as he kept shooting. Then how much for the arm? Gran Torino asked and Todoroki stared at him before continuing the battle. Some of the audience snickered at the scene. I don't get it. Todoroki said. Oh, I'll get that arm. Gran Torino said before he joined the battle again. Somewhere else on the battlefield, All Might and Midoriya were fighting off the aliens together. New haircut? Midoriya asked and All Might smiled at him. I noticed that you copied my style. All Might said and Midoriya nodded before going back to the fight. Koda, on the other hand, had a wood-related quirk. He speared several of the aliens using his power. Whoa, Koda, your quirk is just like the hero, Kamui Woods, dude. Ojiro said while the said boy blushed and rubbed his neck. By the way, this is a friend of mine, Tree. All Might said. Apologies, young Koda. That wasn't hopefully intentional. All Might said. Even though it was just 3 scenes, it was too much for the quiet and innocent boy. Koda turned to face Midoriya while 3 aliens were stuck in the tree branches he made with his hand. I am Koda. Koda said. I am Izuku Midoriya. Midoriya replied. Back in Hatsum's lab, the occupants sans Ojiro noticed some rumbling. Yaoyorozu looked out of the window to see large metal destructors coming out of Earth. Fall back. Fall back now. Azui commanded back on the battlefield. Back at the lab, Yaoyorozu looked between the destruction and Ojiro. Focus on the fire on the left flank, Tokoyami. Kirishima said from inside his suit, earning a positive response from his friend. Somewhere else, Ashido and Uraraka are fighting some of the aliens when 4 destroyers came at them. Suddenly, Yaoyorozu appeared and used her powers to lift the destroyers before throwing them away and killing a large section of the aliens. Wow, Yamamo! Uraraka exclaimed. You are so dmed powerful, girl. Jiro said. I'm not, she is. Yaoyorozu giggled. Then why the hell was Ponytail up there all this time? When she could have if they helped. You know who said, why was she up there all this time? Ashido asked. A little far from them, Toga noticed Yaoyorozu's presence and informed Dabi about this, on her comm. Meanwhile, Dabi was in the hallways of Hatsum's lab. Hatsum noticed this and started to save her progress while Adora Milaje fought Dabi. Hatsum then grabbed a blaster and shot 3 blasts at Dabi, but he blocked them easily. The Dora Milaje stood up and fought Dabi again, but the black-haired man threw both Hatsum and the Dora Milaje through the landing barrier. Not good. Not good. Not good. The audience repeated. Dabi turned back to see that the table was empty. Ojiro then came from behind one of the large windows and threw himself at Dabi. Dumb move, Ojiro. You should have ran. Do you think there was a way to run? Exactly. We got an Ojiro situation here. Tokoyami yelled from the sky but got tackled by the enemy. Someone get to Ojiro. Midoriya yelled but was also tackled to the ground. I got him on it. Sato and Yaoyorozu said as they made their way to Ojiro. But Toga turned Yaoyorozu around. He'll die alone as will you. Toga said. Oh, she's not alone. Uraraka's voice came from behind. Toga turned around to see Uraraka and Ashido in battle stances. Yeah. You go girls. Hagakure exclaimed. Total badass moment. Siro and Kaminari exclaimed. Show them their place, girls. Hado cheered. In the Wakandan jungle, Dabi kicked Ojiro around while Muscular smashed him. But just then, Sato came flying in his suit. Oh, you don't. This isn't gonna be like New York, pal. This suit's already kicked the crap out of Hulk. Sato said as he flew, but Muscular caught the arm of his suit and they both flew over to a lake. I know you like to make your entrances at the last second, dude. This is it. This is the last second. Sato exclaimed. Just then his green Hulk form showed up for a second before saying, "No," while the villains broke an arm of his suit. Oh, forget it, you big green a-hole. I'll do it myself. Sato yelled. Then Sato yelled and jumped at Muscular to fight. Meanwhile, the girls were also fighting the villain pretty well. I thought you were formidable, Machine. But you're dying like any man. Dabi said as he stabbed Ojiro again. What? No fair. That I knew I'd die in this. Ojiro sighed. We won't let you, buddy. Kirishima said. Dabi took out a glaive and aimed for Ojiro when Midoriya jumped on him. Go! Ojiro! Run from here. Go now. Midoriya yelled as he held back Dabi and then fought him using his shields. But the villain threw Midoriya over a log and grabbed his neck. No! Midoriya Deku. But Midoriya was able to get his glaive, so when he was pinned down, he pressed the glaive against the villain's chest. Then Ojiro lifted up the villain and Midoriya stood up. I thought I told you to go. Midoriya said. We don't trade lives, Captain. Ojiro replied with a smile. Earned respect level, 3000. Kendo is seen to beat the aliens with a club while she chanted something in Kosa. All Might is also seen fighting the villains. Are you okay? Yaoyorozu came running towards Ojiro, but as soon as she came the stone began to whine. Yaoyorozu placed her hand over Ojiro's face. What is it? Yaoyorozu asked. He's here. Ojiro replied. Midoriya felt an unnatural presence in the atmosphere. He turned to his comm. Who's here? Minoma asked. Weren't you paying attention, dumbass? Everyone on my position. We have incoming. Midoriya stared and everyone else was confused. Then a portal appeared behind Sato and All for One walked out of it. Here comes the final fight. Ah, the feels are getting me. Some of the students said. Cap, it's him. Sato said. Everyone prepared themselves once again for the final round. Eyes up. Stay sharp. Midoriya instructed. Sato tried to attack AFO, but the villain used the space stone to make him intangible and sat him in the stone. Then he used the power stone to fling Midoriya and Azui away. Oh sweet lord. Shiozaki said. This is getting really bad. Shinso said. Yaoyorozu, it's time. Ojiro said. No. Yaoyorozu whispered. They can't stop him, Yaoyorozu. But we can. Look at me. Ojiro said as both of them looked in each other's eyes. You have the power to destroy the stone. Ojiro said. Don't. You must do it, Yaoyorozu. Please. We are out of time. I see can't. Yes, you can. You can. If he gets the stone, half of the universe dies. That isn't fair. Yaoyorozu was in tears now. He's going to kill half of the universe? The audience yelled. That's bullshit. Bakugu yelled. We agree. It's okay. I know, it shouldn't be you. But, you could never hurt me. I just feel you. Ojiro said. God, stop please. You too are hurting me. This is so sad. Some of the audience was already in tears now. Just like the first ones, everyone who came in the way of All for One was crushed one way or the other. Yaoyorozu placed her hands right above Ojiro's head and used her power to destroy the stone. Efo reached them but was held back by Midoriya, who fought him continuously. Save them, Mito! Ashido exclaimed. Don't let him get to them, Midoriya. Meanwhile, Yaoyorozu destroyed the stone and now Ojiro was exploding. Efo pushed Midoriya far away using the gauntlet. It's alright. It's alright. I love you. Ojiro said. The audience was crying and now was shocked. Ojiro and Momo were in love? Oh my god. Yaoyorozu and Ojiro said. Yamamo and Ojiro now. Oh man. Kaminari said. But they can look like an innocent couple. Ashido Mina. Ojiro and Yaoyorozu blushed. You do realize that they're dying? Tokoyami added. Even though, this is just too sad to be handled by Monkur. Aoyama said. Then his head exploded and he died while Yaoyorozu was crying now. All for One stood behind her, still. I understand, my child. Better than anyone. All for One said. You could never. Today I lost more than you can know. But now is no time to mourn. No time at all. All for One said as he patted her head and then used the time stone to bring Ojiro back. No! Ojiro! The students yelled as they were now frightened by seeing what their other selves are going through. The teachers also couldn't help but feel guilty that they are not with their students at the most needed time. No! All for One smacked Yaoyorozu backwards and took the mind stone out of Ojiro's head, forcefully. Then Ojiro turned into gray dust. Then he placed the stone at the center of his gauntlet and unleashed its full power. Just then All Might came and shot lightning at him before using the Stormbreaker to pierce through the villain's chest. You better not screw this one up, All Might. They need you. All Might said to himself. I told you that you'd die for that. All Might yelled. You should have gone for the head. All for One said between long gasps as he snapped his fingers. No! All Might yelled and then. A white screen. God damn it, what happened? All for One is now seen in an orange landscape without the gauntlet. He turned to see a tiny figure standing in a structure. He walked closer to it, to see who or what it was. Is he dead? Ida. Daughter? How can a monster like him have a daughter? All Might thought. A young Jiro turned around to face him. No. Frigging. Way. Jiro was surprised beyond and so were the rest of the audience. Did you do it? Yes. All for One replied as he looked momentarily sad. And what did it cost? Everything. Why do I feel like crying? Ashido said as tears fell from her eyes. Back at Wakanda, FO was teleported through a portal while All Might looked horrified. What did you do? What did you do? All Might asked. Where'd he go? All Might, where'd he go? Midoriya asked, but All Might didn't reply. Midoriya? Midoriya turned around to see Todoroki turning into dust. Oh God, what's happening now? Zero asked. He is disintegrating. Turning into dust. Aizawa said. No. Midoriya reached out his hand for his friend but couldn't help him stay. Todoroki turned into dust and his gun dropped. Kendo watched as many of the heroes turned to ashes. Up, General. This is no place to die, Ribbit. Azui exclaimed as she held Ashido's hand, but she too turned into dust as she said something in Kosa. I am Koda. Koda said as he too turned into dust. No. Koda. No. No. Gran Torino wanted but couldn't stop the boy's death. Yaoyorozu smiled as she caressed her hands where Ojiro used to be before turning into dust. Kirishima then saw that Tokoyami was also turning into dust. Tokoyami, no. The audience was shocked and saddened. Just one snapped at and this many deaths. Multiverse number 12. The following scenario is taken from The Dark Knight. Sakura belongs to http://. The audience was shocked and saddened. Just one snapped at and this many deaths. They have never seen something this powerful. Deemed that was a lot. Togata said, but did they all seriously just died? There has to be a sequel. Anyone? Hato asked, AN, it was basically my reaction a year ago. Sequel. Like. Kaminari tried to find the correct words. Like in movies. Ashido exclaimed. Yeah. We need a sequel. I'll try to find it later, but for now let's move on. Kuramiya said as she typed in the codes. Searching multiverse scenario #searching multiverse scenario #searching multiverse scenario #search complete. Loading multiverse scenario. Load complete. Emulating scenario. Emulation complete. Playing multiverse scenario number 12. The Joker. The hell is this, a frickin' circus now? You know who yelled? The screen started to play. The screen showed a pool hall at night. There was standing Shigaraki, playing. Behind him, Dabi entered the room as he racked up. Somebody's here for you, Dabi said as Shigaraki turned around to see 3 random customers waiting. They say they've killed the Joker. They've come for the reward, Dabi stated. Sounds like something more than a circus to me, Kirishima said. They bring proof? Shigaraki asked. They say they've brought the body, Dabi replied. Magna, standing behind him, flopped a body, wrapped in garbage bags, on the table. Shigaraki removed the bag on the body's head, revealing a certain greenette's bloodied face, but he was wearing Joker's makeup. Deku Midoriya? The audience yelled in surprise. They killed him? No way! Come on! We just started this. Shigaraki then spitted on the boy's face before turning towards the customers, who killed the boy named Joker. So, dead? You get 500. Shigaraki was cut off by the Joker behind him. He sat up and thrust her a knife in Dabi's chest without wasting a second. Shigaraki turned around to see him with a crazy grin on his face. How about alive? Joker asked. Dawo. He's alive, Kaminari said while everyone else remained silent. Until Jiro spoke. Yeah, but he just killed that villain. Jiro replied. You should be addicted to it by now, Kaminari said, and Jiro sighed. Joker then got a switchblade in Shigaraki's mouth. Sharp metal pulling the cheek taut. The bounty hunters, subdue the remaining villains, please, Joker said as he pressed the blade in Shigaraki's mouth, slightly. Then he continued. Wanna know how I got these scars? He asked crazily as he pointed at the scars on his face, which were in the shape of a wide smile. Don't know about him, but something tells me that I don't want to, Ciro said as they all looked at the perfectly carved smile on the green-haired boy's face with confusion and concern. My father was a drinker and a fiend. He'd beat Mommy right in front of me. One night he goes off crazier than usual. Mommy gets the kitchen knife to defend herself. He doesn't like that. What? Bit. He explained as he tugged Shigaraki's cheek with the blade. So, me watching, he takes the knife to her, laughing while he does it. Turns to me and says, why so serious? One comes at me with the knife. Why so serious? Sticks the blade in my mouth. Let's put a smile on that face one end, he said as he explained the last part by lightly moving the switchblade on Shigaraki's face, in the form of a smile. Explaining the fact that his father carved his face. Ouch. That's really sad. The audience flinched after hearing the story behind the scars on their friend's face. They were shocked to hear this, but they knew that it never happened to their Midoriya. His father is a better person, right? Many people thought. The Joker looked up to see the shocked and fearful faces of the remaining villains. Why so serious? He asked as he flicked his wrist and Shigaraki went down. The other villains flinched at his actions. Oh, for the love of! He is crazy! Now, our organization is small, but we've got a lot of potential for aggressive expansion. So which of you fine gentlemen would like to join our team? Joker said as he snapped a pool cue while all other villains nodded in agreement. Only one spot open right now, so we're gonna have tryouts, Joker said as he threw the snapped cue between the men. The villains stared at each other. Make it fast, Joker said before leaving. And the screen blacked out. Okay, students. 2 more then another break for everyone, Niza said. Yes, sir. Multiverse number 13. Yes, sir. Searching multiverse scenario # searching multiverse scenario # searching multiverse scenario # search complete. Loading multiverse scenario. Load complete. Emulating scenario. Emulation complete. Playing multiverse scenario number 13. Stay alive. The screen played to show All Might rushing in the infirmary of UA through its door. The background music was proving something tragic has happened. This looks like a music video, Sakura said. A sad music video. Jiro added as she emphasized, sad. Come on, you guys. Kuramiya exclaimed. Where's my son? All Might yelled, asked Recovery Girl, who turned around to see him anxiously waiting for a reply. Son? The audience yelled at All Might. You have a child? Present Mike yelled, asked. No. I don't. All Might replied as he shook his head vigorously. Oh well. Todoroki said as he cut something written on a clipboard with red marker. What's that, Todoroki? Uraraka and Kirishima asked, trying to look at what was written on there. Nothing. Todoroki replied as he hid the clipboard somewhere. Mr. Tashinori, come in. They brought him here half an hour ago. He has lost a lot of blood on the way over. Recovery Girl was explaining the condition of the boy, but All Might cut her off in the middle of explanation. Is he alive? He asked as he placed both of his hands on the old nurse's shoulders. Someone's really worried for his not son? Midnight said teasingly. Not the time now. I would be if I was there. All Might said. Yes, but you have to understand. The bullet entered just above his hip and lodged in his right arm. Recovery Girl said. Ouch. Togata said. Ouch. Hato said. Ouch. Amajiki said. Yeah. It's pretty bad when you think of it. Kendo said. Can I see him? Please. All Might asked, cutting her off again. I'm doing everything I can, but the wound is already infected and here I am. Recovery Girl said as she removed the covering to reveal the boy, who All Might wanted to see so desperately. As she revealed the boy, a strange shadow casted on All Might's eyes as he walked closer to the infirmary bed. Ladies and gentlemen, behold, All Might's son. Kaminari yelled before getting a shock from Jiro. He is dying, you idiot. Show some respect. And also it's gentlemen. Not gentlemen. Jiro yelled at him. There lied Izuku Midoriya with severe injuries as All Might's shadow casted above his upper body. Izuku. All Might called him by his first name. The music turned to a soft piano note. What? 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 I knew it. Todoroki yelled. What? Pa. Midoriya opened his eyes to look at him as he replied with a weak smile. Blood trickled down from his mouth. Oh my God. It looks worse up close. Ida and Uraraka said. I did exactly as you said, Pa. I held my head up high. Midoriya said as he clutched his wound, on his side, tightly. I know. I know. All Might said as he caressed the boy's cheeks with both of his hands. Tears were forming in Midoriya's eyes as he talked to the skinny blonde. I know. You did everything just right. All Might said as he gave him a small smile. He himself was tearing up at the sight of his boy. Even before we got to 10. I was aiming for the sky. Midoriya spoke even though All Might shushed him again and again. I was aiming for the sky. Midoriya said as he cried from the pain. I know. All Might said as he moved his hand through the boy's green-black messy hair. I was aiming for the sky. Midoriya cried as he repeated his words. He felt like he was dying from the pain. This just got very sad. Kirishima said as he and some others started crying. All Might was also in tears. The boy he came to look as a son was now dying before him. And he couldn't do anything. My boy. I know. Save your strength and stay alive. All Might exclaimed as Inko Midoriya screamed, standing at the door of the infirmary, with tears falling freely from her eyes. All Might turned around to see her walking closer to the bed on which Midoriya laid. Inko? Oh no. This is going to be more sad than I thought. Is he breathing? Is he going to survive this? Inko yelled as she checked on her son. Who did this? Toshi, did you know? Inko yelled, asked the X-1 hero as tears fell from her eyes. All Might didn't reply to her. He couldn't. He just looked at the scene helplessly. Mom, I'm so sorry for forgetting what you taught me. Midoriya said as he stretched out his hand for his mother, who turned around to look at him with tear-filled eyes. My son. Inko cried as she hugged the injured boy. They then looked in each other's eyes as Inko caressed his cheek. At this point, The entire audience was in tears. Their friend and his mother died in a situation like this. It was the very, very last thing any one of them ever wanted to see. They felt so helpless. So powerless. Midoriya. They cried silently. We played piano. Midoriya said. I taught you piano. Inko added. You would put your hands on mine. Midoriya said with tears flowing from his eyes. You changed the melody every time. Inko said. I would always change the lines. Midoriya cried. A flashback played showing both of them in the past, playing together. Back at the present. Choked sobs escaped from the students' throats as they watched their green-haired friend enjoying his last moments with his mother. I know. I would always change the lines. He cried. I know. Undo trois quatre cinq six sept huit neuf Inko sang. Undo trois quatre cinq six sept huit neuf, Midoriya sang. Good. Undo trois quatre cinq six sept huit neuf, Inko repeated. Undo trois. September huit neuf September huit. Inko looked at her son only to find him dead. No! She screamed. All Might cried. And the screen blacked out. Everyone stayed silent and tried to take in what they just saw. They needed something good now. Hatsum, ban Kuramiya from the control panel immediately. Wait, what? Yeah. Sakura belongs to http sunlight_vibes. The following scenario is taken from Avengers Endgame. This chapter contains spoilers for those who haven't watched Endgame yet. Yeah. Come on. Kuramiya exclaimed. No. The audience said. I found the sequel. Hatsum exclaimed out of nowhere. No sheet, Sherlock. Play it immediately. Yeah. Searching multiverse scenario # searching multiverse scenario # searching multiverse scenario # search complete. Loading multiverse scenario. Load complete. Emulating scenario. Emulation complete. Playing multiverse scenario number 14. Endgame. We are in the endgame now. Uraraka said, and everyone looked at her in confusion. I just felt like I needed to say that. She replied to their stares. The screen played to show a lot of debris on a land. There in the middle, where there was less debris, were All for One, Midoriya, Bakugo and All Might in his weak form ready to fight. Please tell me he dies. All Might said. He dies. Hato replied. How can you be so sure? Amajiki asked. Well, it says endgame. Either the bad guy dies or the good guy. Hato exclaimed in reply. What if it was both? Sakura asked. No reply came from the audience. Okay, All Might. Hit me. Bakugo said as he prepared his iron suit to absorb his lightning and throw it forward. All Might did as he said and charged himself with lightning before throwing it at its full power at him. Bakugo's suit absorbed the lightning, amplified it and used it to attack All for One, who used his giant blade to defend himself. All Might saw this and used Stormbreaker to throw Mjolnir at the villain while yelling loudly. The villain, however, picked up Bakugo in front of himself and Mjolnir hit him instead, taking him back a few yards. That's one manly suit, Bakubro. Kirishima said. But that must have hurt. Ida added. Shut up, glasses. Boss, wake up. Fri's voice echoed through his suit. Then Midoriya came forward and attacked All for One, but he threw him away. Then All for One threw his blade at All Might, who dodged it and came to attack. All for One got his blade back and tried to stop All Might's Stormbreaker. They both began fighting. But All Might dropped his weapon and then All for One started beating him up. All Might tried to get his weapon back to counterattack, but All for One interfered and tried to press the axe against his chest. No! All Might! Get up! Get up! Get up! Stop him, damn it! But before he could, Mjolnir was lifted. Wait, what? What was that again? Kaminari asked. Mjolnir, the hammer of the Norse god of lightning and thunder. Only the one worthy can lift it. Yayorozu explained. And if you do, you rule Asgard. Kendo added. Awesome. I want to try this sometime. So, who's worthy here? Zero asked. All Might seems to lift it easily. The question is, Who lifted it now? Todoroki replied. And thrown at him, making him fall backwards. The weapon came back to the worthy from midair. Izuku Midoriya. Midoriya is worthy? Kaminari exclaimed with Zero. Midori and All Might gonna rule Asgard. Ashido said. I knew it. All Might said after a long breath. All for one kicked him down and went for the boy. The boy, on the other hand, came towards the villain, shield in one hand and Mjolnir in the other. Both of them attacked each other. All for one fell backwards and Midoriya took an opportunity. Then Mjolnir. 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 Lightning. Way to go, dude. So manly. Show him his place is in the dust. The two kept on fighting. Mjolnir dropped from Midoriya's hand and All for one attacked his shield with the blade repeatedly. The shield broke. And Midoriya was on the ground panting heavily. All for one threw him a few yards back. Midoriya lied there. Out of breath. Grunting, he tried to stand up. Yet now that's not good. Definitely not good. Ojiro said, in all my years of conquest, violence, slaughter, it was never personal. But I'll tell you now, what I'm about to do to your stubborn, annoying little planet. I'm gonna enjoy it. Very, very much. All for one said as his army of gnomes and villains came behind him through spacecrafts. Oh come on. He killed all our heroes last time and he gets a bigger army now. Tetsu exclaimed. No sheet, Sherlock. Bakugo yelled. Yeah. Midoriya looked down as he tried to regain his breath. Grunting in pain, he stood up. He panted as he walked forwards. Then suddenly, Cap, you hear me? A voice said through his comm. Midoriya looked around for someone. But he was alone. Cap, it's Tokoyami. Can you hear me? It came again. Tokoyami? Tokoyami? Everyone asked. Me. Tokoyami asked himself. Wait, didn't you die last time? Shoji asked. Tokoyami shrugged. On your left. Tokoyami said. Midoriya turned to his left. Insert the most amazing Marvel theme. Oh my god. Hagakure gasped. It's coming. The feels. It's here. A sparkling circle, a portal. 3 people came out. Ashido, Azui and Hatsum. Midoriya smiled. Azui nodded. Tokoyami came out of the golden portal flying forward. Then many portals opened. And one by one, the heroes arrived. Shoji, Night Eye, Kaminari, Yaoyorozu, Cementos and Koda, teenaged. Azui said something in Kosa. Her army behind her repeated. Then, Todoroki, Koda and Midnight, Snipe, Hado and Tamaki. Many heroes. Wizards. Alien races. This is so cool. Ashido exclaimed. Oh, now the villains are screwed. Sato said. All Might grabbed Stormbreaker. Bakugo stood up. Is that everyone? Night Eye asked. He wanted more? Recovery Girl asked. What, you wanted more? Cementos replied. Togata came out of the debris, his body enlarged. He was holding Sato, Gran Torino and Kirishima in his hand. He let them go. My quirk is different too? Togata exclaimed. Avengers! Midoriya stood in front of the heroes. He grabbed Mjolnir. Assemble! He said and everyone yelled as they rushed forward to attack. All for one signaled his army to attack as well. Heroes versus villains. Yeah! The audience exclaimed with joy. They were fighting each other when accidentally Midoriya and All Might switched weapons. No, give me that. You have the little one. All Might said and they switched their weapons again and continued to fight. The audience snickered at that scene. Really, All Might? Bakugo was fighting some gnomes when he lost his balance, but Togata saved him by crushing the gnomo by his feet. Then Koda came to help the spiky blonde up. Hey, holy cow. You will not believe what's been going on. Do you remember when we were in space? And I got all dusty? I must have passed out, 'cause I woke up and you were gone. But Sir Night Eye was there, right? He was like, it's been 5 years. Come on, they need us. And then he started doing the yellow sparkly thing that he does all the time. What are you doing? Koda was explaining when suddenly, Bakugo hugged him. Oh, Bakugo's gone soft for Koda. Ashido cooed. Bakugo didn't reply but gritted his teeth and looked away. Hey, chill man. It's manly. Kirishima gave him a thumbs up. No one cares that it's been 5 years? Ojiro pointed out. Oh well. Oh, this is nice. Koda said. Then they went back to the fight. Kaminari was fighting 2 villains and he took them down. Then Huss' eyes landed on Jiro. Jiro? I thought I lost you. Kaminari said as he walked closer to her. But she punched him. Missed it. Punched and kicked him again. Kaminari was on the ground. Don't. Me. She yelled at him. Come on. Seriously, Jiro? Kaminari yelled. Idiot. Jiro mumbled as the other girls giggled. You missed the first time. Then you got them both the second time. Kaminari said, grunting. This is the one? Seriously? Jiro asked Hagakure. The choices were him or a tree. Hagakure replied. Then Shinso came in view, holding the gauntlet, running in the middle of the chaos. What? I am here too. Shinso asked himself. Congrats. Buddy. You're a hero now. Kaminari, Siro and Kirishima said. Cap, what do you want me to do with this diamond thing? He asked through his calm. Get those stones as far away as possible. Midoriya replied as he was fighting a giant Nomu. No. We need to get them back where they came from. Sato said as he helped him. No way to get them back. All for one destroyed the quantum tunnel. Bakugo said from inside his suit. Quantum tunnel? Present my questioned. Time machine, I presume. Nizu replied. Hold on. That wasn't our only time machine. Togata said as he came back to his normal size and pressed a button on his keychain resulting in during a van alarm. Anyone see an ugly brown van up there? Midoriya asked as he walked up to look around. Yes. But you're not gonna like where it's parked. Midnight replied, who was riding a Pegasus. The van was near the villain army. Wow. What a time machine. I'm impressed 1A. Monoma said with clear sarcasm in his voice. Togata, how long you need to get that thing working? Bakugo asked. Maybe 10 minutes. Togata replied as Hado came to his side. Get it started. We'll get the stones to you. Midoriya instructed as he rushed to get the infinity stones. We're on it, Cap. Hado replied as both her and Togata shrunk to the size of insects and flew away. Yay! Our quirks are basically the same. Hado exclaimed at Togata who rubbed the back of his head. Bakugo landed near Night Eye, who was fighting the villains off using mystic arts. Hey, you said 1 out of 14 million we win, yeah? Tell me this is it. Bakugo asked him. If I tell you what happens, it won't happen. Night Eye replied. Night Eye is fighting with us? Man, I wish things were better between us. It's my fault for what happened anyways. All Might thought. You better be right. Bakugo nodded and flew off. Togata and Hado reached in the van and came back to their normal size on the front seats of the van. It's a mess back here. Hado said as she looked back and Togata saw the machine. It's dead. He said. What? It's dead. I have to hotwire it. He said as he started fixing the time machine. Back at the war. Where's Hagakure? All for one asked as he fought. Wah! What do you want from my innocent soul? Hagakure yelled. She's not responding. Sire. Dabi replied as he pointed to Shinso, who had the gauntlet. Shinso. Run. Kaminari said. Shinso used his arrows to fight off every villain who came in his way. Boy, you got skills. We need to put you in the hero course. Hey Nizu? How about exchange him with Monoma? Vlad King said. Hey! Monoma yelled. Nobody saw the purple head smiling softly as his dream came closer to him. Then Azui came in his view. Shinso, give it to me, Ribbit. Azui said, extending her hand to him. Shinso nodded and gave it to her as they changed their paths. Azui fought as she ran with the gauntlet, but then All for One came in her way. As he moved closer, Yaoyorozu landed between them. The villain stopped dead in his tracks. Yaoyorozu's eyes were glowing. Somebody set off. Juro said to Yairo's, "Don't you remember? She lost the love of her life," Ashido said in a sing-song voice. "See, cut it out, Mina." Yairozu said. "You took everything from me." She said, "I don't even know who you are." He replied, "You will," she said as she levitated herself and tons of debris and attacked him with it. She then hit him repeatedly with red energy ball. "Oh, he'll probably never forget her now," Uraraka said. Ashui tried to run again but got stuck in the debris Dabi manipulated. She then threw it up to Koda, who caught it with webs. "I got it," Koda yelled. "Go, Koda! I gotta tell about this to the pussycats. Activate instant kill." Koda commanded and fired off the villains attacking him. Yairozu, on the other hand, went mad on the Titan. She levitated him above and started crushing his body. "Rain fire!" All for one yelled, grunting heavily. "But sire, our troops," Dabi said. "Just do it," he ordered. The largest spacecraft above started firing on the ground, not caring who was down there. The wizards made golden shields to protect the hero army. That wasn't a smart move though. He can kill more of his army and he won't even know it. Power Loader said. "You think that he cares about them?" All Might said. "Not really. Is anyone else seeing this?" Shiozaki said from her suit, after looking at the coming flood. Night Eye nodded and came forward, trying to control the coming flood using his powers. "My quirk is changed, Hato's quirk is changed, Sir Night Eye is really powerful. I really would have loved this universe if there weren't so many wars," Togata exclaimed. Koda was having a hard time dealing with the enormous bunch of Nomus on him. "I got this. I got this." "Okay, I don't got this. Help. Somebody help," he yelled. "Hey Queens. Heads up," Midoriya said as he threw Mjolnir above Koda. The boy used his webs to fly along with the hammer with the gauntlet in one hand. But his web was cut off from all the laser firing. Then Shiozaki caught him. "Hang on. I got you, kid," she said and landed him on the Pegasus with Midnight. "Hey. Nice to meet you." "My God!" Koda yelled as he fell from the Pegasus and landed on the ground, trying to dodge the lasers and protect the Infinity Stones. Everyone was trying to dodge the laser. Then suddenly the lasers changed their paths. They started shooting at the opposite direction in the sky. "What is wrong with them?" Todoroki asked. "What the hell is this?" Kirishima asked. "FRI, what are they firing at?" Bakugu asked his AI. An object with a dense golden aura came down with high speed, unaffected to the lasers. "That thing's powerful," Present Mike exclaimed. "But what is it?" Snipe asked. "Something just entered the upper atmosphere," the AI replied. The object tore apart the spacecraft that was firing and came into proper view. Nana Shimura. "What? Who?" Nana Shimura. "She was my Moss teacher. A great teacher. But she also fought All for One. And died." All Might replied with sorrow. "Oh yeah." Gran Torino exclaimed with joy. "Shimura, we need an assist here," Midoriya said through his comm. Shimura nodded and landed near Koda. "Hi. I'm Izumi Koda," Koda said, hugging the gauntlet close to him. "Hey, Izumi Koda. Got something for me?" Shimura asked. Koda stood up and looked at the fight a little away from them. "I don't know how you're gonna get through all that," Koda said. "Don't worry," Yairozu said as she and all other female heroes came to assist Nana Shimura. "She's got help," Shiozaki said. "Girl power," Ashido yelled. The fight continued with the female heroes obliterating the villains. "Way to go everyone. You got them." Shimura flew towards the van with the gauntlet but All for One came in her way. But he got fired backwards. He stood up again, ready to fight. He threw his blade at Shimura, who dropped the gauntlet and flew backwards, clearing the field with her power. Bakugu saw All for One approaching the gauntlet and tried to fight him off it. But All for One threw him away as well. The villain tried again but instead he was held back by All Might and Midoriya. All Might's axe nearing his throat. But the villain acted fast and threw both of them away from himself. "Come on," Die already, you BSTD? Bakugo yelled. He grabbed the gauntlet, but then Shimura attacked him. He threw her away again and put on the gauntlet on his hand, letting its power sink in him and ready to snap as he yelled. But Shimura got in time and opened his hand wide, not letting him snap. He tried to attack her, but she didn't even flinch. The audience cheered and clapped for her. He then took out the Power Stone and punched Shimura out of the way. Punched her out of the movie. Bakugo got up and looked at Night Eye. Night Eye controlled the flood with one hand and signaled, 1, to him while smiling slightly. All for One placed the stone back and let their power flow through his entire body. Bakugo nodded and fired himself at All for One. You're gonna do something super manly, aren't you? Kirishima asked. Bakugo didn't reply but looked at the screen. He clutched the gauntlet, but All for One threw him away. I am inevitable, All for One said as he snapped his fingers. But nothing happened. He looked at the gauntlet. Not a single stone. Then he looked at Bakugo, who had all the stones on his suit's hand. And him. He took a deep breath. Iron Man. He snapped. You did it, Bakugo. White screen. Gran Torino was fighting, but the villains turned into dust. Every villain turned into dust. Every villain. All for One looked around for the last time before he sat down and turned into dust himself. 'Cause that's what he is. Totally worthless. Zero said. Bakugo laid back against a broken wall. The heroes came closer to him. Oh God. I totally missed the point that the power would have a backfire. Tokoyami said. Same. Everyone replied.